Me and you do our thing live from YouTube and Twitter every morning?
Yes, Telly, that is exactly right. So now they can watch you almost lose your black card every Friday during our Truth Telling Hit segment.
Come on now. You know I'm never losing my black card. But Truth Nation, you gotta tune into all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows, as you can not only listen live on the app, but you can also stream us live all day, every day by going to 1017thetruth.com and clicking the Watch Live link.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Business leaders are talking less about diversity. Bloomberg compiled data from earnings calls and conferences from a range of different companies and found that mentions of diversity, equity, and inclusion fell over 50% from just a year ago. Porter Braswell is CEO and founder of 2045 Studio, an exclusive networking platform for diverse professionals. He says companies shying away from DEI might not have been all in to begin with.
If a company pulls back from their DEI initiatives and efforts in this climate, they were never about the work.
But Braswell also sees a silver lining.
Now is a tremendous opportunity for consumers to understand what the companies stand for that we choose to buy the products from.
The corporate response to DEI backlash could shine a light on companies that embrace diversity authentically. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You're not put here to be a white man's footstool. You're put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Reverend, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Friday, September 22nd, 2023. I firmly believe that an employer can require a dress code of their employees. If you are an employee, you are hired by someone because of your skill set, your education, your experience, or in some cases, you're hired because of who you know. But ultimately, as an employee, isn't your main focus at that job to perform the duties that are required of you? It's an agreement you have. You're going to sell your labor. You're going to sell your experience in this field, in this vocation, in this line of work to an employer, which is going to purchase that experience from you in hopes that you help that company do more than just stay afloat. You help them exceed, excel, and beat the competition. It's an agreement. And there's legal protections for both employer and employee. But in that contract, as the employee represents, even if they don't want to, when you are at work, you represent the company that you work for. A lot of people will quit their jobs because they don't like representing the company that they work for. If that company makes the news or if that CEO says something that's offensive, an employee can say, you know what, I don't want to be a representative of this place because of behaviors of other people, et cetera, right? Well, the employer can say, look, I hired you. Here's what we're agreeing to pay you. You accepted it. There's a set of standards here if you are working for this company. I don't think that that's unreasonable. It seems that dress code, I'm going to include hair into that as well because it can get really, really complicated. But when it comes to adults, grown people in professional employment, like nobody should have an issue with an employer saying, hey, this is what we expect you to wear. Now, employers can offer a tremendous amount of flexibility. And the other thing is it depends on what you do. If you work in the warehouse, you ain't got to wear no suit. But on days where you might be talking to the board or investors of the company in which you work in the warehouse, maybe they're coming to visit, maybe they want to meet with you and talk to other employees, well, then that's different. You don't wear your warehouse clothes. And I think this is something that is just widely understood by adults. There is a dress code. There's an expectation that you present yourself in a certain way. Now, there's a lot of variation, depends on the job. I don't know if we have a dress code here. In fact, no, we don't, because I've seen some of my colleagues here wear some stuff that, but I guess as long as they're performing and doing their jobs, it is what it is. I don't tend to really care nor judge people based upon what they wear. And I'm here for such a short period of time, right? So when I'm in the studio, I mean, I'm looking at myself. I look up, I see Rhea's head or a part of it. I may see a Benjamin. I may see other folks briefly. Then I get off the air and I usually skedaddle. Don't really care what people are wearing. I get here early. And when I get here, maybe I see Steve Scafidi. He's preparing in another room adjacent to the one I'm preparing. And Steve Scafidi, he dresses like an old white dude. You know what I'm saying? He ain't violating nobody's dress code ever. But for the most part, I don't think we have a dress code here. But if they required it, because, you know, we're on camera now, you see. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm waving hello. You can watch on YouTube as well if you subscribe to and follow 1017 The Truth on the YouTubes. But if they required a dress code of me, I'm also sitting in a window, basically a floor-to-ceiling window. So when I look to my right, when I look to my north out of the 3rd Street Market Hall studio we have here, I see a restaurant. There's all sorts of tables and chairs where diners can see me. And so if Craig Karmazin and other folks here in the leadership and ownership of Good Karma Brand says, Sherwin, you got to wear a tuxedo every single day, I got 2 choices. Go back to WNOV or wear a tuxedo every single day. Very simple. Dress code is now coming under fire because there is a U.S. Senator, John Fetterman, very interesting guy, ran for an open seat in the Pennsylvania U.S. Senate race. Literally had a stroke while he was campaigning for that seat. He's a very different kind of human being. I just saw an interview with him on Chris Hayes' show on MSNBC. Like, dude is just, he's different. But so are the people from Pennsylvania. If you ever met somebody from Pennsylvania, let's just say they're unique. 100% American, but unique to say the least. Well, John Fetterman, who is a part of that Pennsylvania uniqueness, dude wears wrinkled shirts and shorts and T-shirts and tennis shoes to the Senate floor. Even though we may not like their output, the U.S. Senate is a dignified, exclusive legislative body. They make decisions that have an impact on not just us here in the United States, but all over the world. They select or advise and consent on who sits on the federal bench for life. Federal district courts, appellate courts, and the U.S. Supreme Court. They are the ones that can convict a president when the House has duly convicted him or her of high crimes and misdemeanors. This is a very deliberate, very exclusive club. There's only 100 of them. They're unique in that regard as well. There are 435 members of the House of Representatives. That's why House members can be like Lauren Boebert and can be like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They can be weird. They can be extreme. They can be offensive because House districts are much smaller and can be more reflective of, let's just say, an out of the mainstream voting population. But U.S. senators are dignified. Those are the grown-ups in the room. And so there's a lot of U.S. senators, both Democrat and Republican, who are very offended by how John Fetterman dresses. Now, remember, this guy's from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is different. Pennsylvania is unique. And he had a stroke. And if you listen to him talk, it sounds like he has not fully regained all of his auditory and or articulation factors, right? He's still a little messed up. But here's the thing. That's between him and the people in the state of Pennsylvania that elected him. If they, the people that elected him, don't mind what he wears, well, then you got to give this guy a little bit of latitude. But all in all, the employer, and this is a difficult one because the employer technically are the people in the state of Pennsylvania. And if they don't mind what John Fetterman is wearing on the U.S. Senate floor, and I'd imagine the Republicans in that state probably have an issue with it, but for the most part, if he is effective in putting forth legislation and supporting legislation, and hearing the desires, wants, needs, and wishes of the people in Pennsylvania. And if he is doing that work on behalf of them, shouldn't matter what he wears, right? Do you guys have a dress code where you work at? And do you find it punitive? Is it too strict? So there's that. But then there's the other part that we really need to focus on. The dress code in schools. Look, I get it. Kids they're individuals, aren't they? They can express themselves, can't they? They have their individual freedoms, right? No, sorry. Children should not be able to wear certain things to school, period. Now, it gets complicated when we start talking about hair, because I got this story here that I think I may have mentioned earlier in the week, but we didn't get to it because we were too busy talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. A black Texas student's suspension over his hair renews focus on the Crown Act. And if you guys are not familiar with the Crown Act, I suppose I got to get you up to speed on that. It's a piece of federal legislation that seeks to prohibit discrimination based upon natural hairstyles. CROWN stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. And this young man and his hair looks really good. It's braided in rows, like very complicated looking braids, right? It's a natural hairstyle, right? Young black child, 17 years old. I guess he's not that much of a child anymore. Daryl George is his name. And so this is what they're doing to Daryl George. And we got to talk about this. We're going to talk about the entire spectrum, the entire gamut of what is and is not acceptable for children. When it comes to things like hair, that's different. Hair is biological. Hair has got racial and cultural significance. So policing hair, that's kind of dicey. But as far as what children wear, schools, school districts, principals, teachers, administrators, superintendents, and of course parents have every single right to have a say-so on how children are presenting themselves. Now, you want to wear whatever you want? Get a job, get an apartment, get your own house, pay your own bills. You shouldn't be able to, because kids make awful decisions. Can we agree? Can we please agree on that? Leaving children to their own devices is a disaster, because they'll think something is a great idea, and chances are it's probably illegal. So we're going to talk about it. So just so y'all know where I'm at, I think it is respectable. I think it is fair. I think it is reasonable for an employer to require a certain kind and or style of dress, right? And if you don't like the dress code there, then work somewhere else or work from home, or you can do Zoom calls and not wear any pants. But when it comes to children, when it comes to school, when it comes to that kind of environment where children are impulsive, children can make very bad decisions, children can be very easily distracted, dress codes in school certainly should be enforced. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
At We Energies, we're committed to building a bright, sustainable energy future. We're investing in clean energy projects like solar, wind, and battery storage. As a leader in the decarbonization effort, our goal is to achieve net zero carbon emissions from our generation fleet by 2050. It's part of our plan to provide the affordable, reliable, and clean energy you depend on. Learn more at WeEnergies.com.
We Energies. People you can trust, energy you can depend on. This message was paid for by the stockholders of WEC Energy Group.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Telly Hughes with his truth.
My mom used to always tell me, be careful of the company you keep. My interpretation of that message was, don't hang out around bad people doing bad things. When my thoughts became a little more sophisticated, I realized it was her way of making me understand the power of influence others can have on your decisions. No matter the distance perception might be from reality, you are or will become who you hang around. Benefit by surrounding yourself with like-minded people or mentors you can see yourself becoming and use their journey as a blueprint. That's why you don't see eagles hanging with pigeons, because they don't have the same goals or aspirations. Words are just words when you don't understand or practice the meaning. So I had to turn to one of my favorite books. That's right, sounds nerdy, but I went to the old dictionary to look up the word company. One of the definitions of company is the fact or condition of being with another or others, especially in a way that provides friendship and enjoyment. In addition to that definition, keep in mind the company you keep is a choice. The company you keep can propel you to great heights or rob you of all your hopes and dreams based on your association or who is championing you. Don't be afraid to stand up and stand out for the right reasons, even if that means having to do it alone, because sooner or later, others will understand.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Sometimes we forget that The people in the world don't know us. They don't know nothing about you. They don't know your story. They don't know your struggle. Here's something else to remember. This is what I've come to realize about life just as I'm navigating through it. People don't really care about you. They don't. Like strangers out in the world, they don't. You're lucky if you can find a good Samaritan if you fall over and have a heart attack. But for the most part, people don't have the time, effort, or energy to be concerned about a stranger. You can't. We all have too much to do. There's never enough time. We don't have enough hours in the day to complete all of our tasks. And to think that people are just walking around concerned about you, it's arrogant, right? It's egotistical, right? Nobody cares about you. But what people do notice is how you present yourself to the world. Like, this has to be a conscious decision. And this is why I don't think kids, they don't have this faculty yet. You don't get that until you get older. Kids might want to exercise their independence and tell the world like who they are, what kind of adult they want to be by dressing in a particular way. And they're oftentimes miscommunicating. How you dress is nonverbal communication. You are communicating to the people around you. And here's where it gets kind of tricky because it's your individuality. You picked them clothes out. You know them jeans don't fit. You know that shirt is too tight. You picked it anyway. You are communicating that to the world. And here's where people have the audacity to get offended. If you dress in a particular way, and people that don't know you, remember, nobody cares about you in the world, but how you dress, how you leave the house, how you present yourself to the world is nonverbal communication because that's intentional. 9 times out of 10, the clothes that you are wearing, you picked them out. You picked them out for a reason, maybe form, maybe function. The weather could have something to do with it, I'm sure, but it's intentional. And so as we're walking around the world, walking down the sidewalk, going to the bus stop, going to the grocery store, whatever we're doing, we're surrounded by people who are making intentional choices about the clothes they wear because that is what they want to present to the world. Sometimes people are still in their work attire. Sometimes people are just coming from the gym. So it tells you something about that human being without that human being having to say a word. That being said, when it comes to children, I'm talking about high school kids who need discipline, who need a fair amount of policing, because you can't leave children to their own devices. It is a horrible mistake. And you do it not to be overburdening for the kids, but to show them that structure is necessary and required. And it's one of the most important things that they could and or should learn as they move through adulthood. We also have this obligation, so I come to find out, about the woman that got hit with a brick that really didn't get hit with a brick. It was a referendum on, we're not protecting women. Got to protect the women. Got to protect women you don't know. You got to protect a woman even if you want to be nice to her, introduce yourself to her, and just simply say hello to her. Open the door for her, and she doesn't even say thank you. Yeah, we got to protect those women too. Men have this steadfast obligation to protect all women, even when women are exhibiting bad behavior. And it's kind of confusing for men because if we exhibit bad behavior, there is zero expectation that anybody is going to protect us, period. Men don't leave the house thinking, I'm going to do a whole bunch of really bad, awful, disrespectful, and mean things because, I'm insecure and I expect anyone to come to my aid. No, we live in reality. So fair enough, we gotta protect the women. Gotta protect girls in particular because girls are vulnerable. Okay? In fact, girls are so vulnerable that when even an adult woman, 18 years old is an adult, even though depending upon the circumstance, some people may not think an 18-year-old woman is adult enough. But we never really do that with men. We send men off to war at 18. I just turned 18. Get off the war, sir. Here's a gun. Shoot somebody and try not to get shot. Good luck in Iraq. But if a 18-year-old woman now who can vote, who can also join the military, she can sign a lease, she can enter into business contracts, she can into the contract of marriage, right? She's grown. She is an adult. She is of majority age. But if an 18-year-old woman is dating, let's say, a 50-year-old man, what do we say? She's being taken advantage of. She doesn't know what she's doing. Why would she? No. Wait a minute. She's grown, right? Well, kind of. But she doesn't know what she's doing. This man is preying on her. For all we know, she might be preying on him. You see how there's a double standard there? But there's also a double standard in styles of dress, because if we are, as men, obligated to protect all women and all girls, how women and girls present themselves, now I know this is going to run afoul of women wanting to exercise and exert their freedom, their expression, and their independence. Remember, how you dress and how you present yourself to the world is nonverbal communication. You are telling everyone around you who you are, what you're about, where you're coming from, where you're going. Like, you're communicating that, and most people don't get it. You got to be intentional about what you wear. Have you guys ever seen the lengths? I'm not talking about women, that's a separate story. The lengths that young girls will go to get attention. Have you ever witnessed it? Online is a great example of how far they will go, and they will objectify themselves. And this is where it's an issue, because these are children. So their internet usage, boys and girls, both of them, needs to be policed by adults, because children who don't have the capacity to make smart decisions, they're still very impulsive. Their frontal lobe of the brain parts, you got a brain that's got a bunch of different pieces. Like, your brain is like a country with different states, and different states have different functions. You know what I mean? And some of those states, those regions of our brain don't get developed until we're in our mid-20s. Especially the part, is it the frontal lobe or the prefrontal cortex, the gray matter, the brain in the front by the forehead. Some of y'all have a lot of prefrontal cortex. How do I know? You have gigantic foreheads, so you have a lot of prefrontal up there. It's not developed until you're in your 20s. That has a lot of control over your behavior and your impulsivity. Children, teenagers in particular, also raging with hormones, are very, very impulsive and do not make the best decisions. And we're going to pretend like we don't see it, and pretend like we don't know what it is, or we're going to couch it in language like, oh, these young girls are independent. They can do whatever they want. They have freedom of expression. But the lengths that they will go to get attention is staggering. It's frightening, actually. Especially, and there's certain cases here now, where a young girl, when I say young girl, teenage girl, is seeking attention and approval from men and boys, because she is not and has not gotten attention and approval from her father. She will, and sometimes it is subconscious, she will seek attention. Online, young girls getting attention is validation. And if you are insecure, and most teenage girls are insecure, most of them are. Most teenage boys are insecure. We can have a debate about who was more insecure, but both of them are sad cases of insecurity, because that's just a part of growing up and maturing, etc. And we know that. But an immature, impulsive young girl seeking attention, and attention is currency. The more attention you get, it almost feels like a wealth of dopamine. You think that you're doing something good because people are liking and people are responding. It feels good to somebody who feels essentially unnoticed in the world. And so the way they dress and the way they present themselves online could be for that attention and that validation. Now, you bring that into reality. Young girls, have you seen, I'm serious now, and y'all know what some of these young girls wear. It is wholly offensive. Remember, how you dress and how you present yourself to the world is nonverbal communication. Now, I'm supposed to put all the blame on boys. Well, boys need to be able to control themselves. These girls are wearing shorts literally with their butt cheeks hanging out. They're a step away from nudity. And like, there's no corresponding attire that boys wear that can correspond to a scantily clad girl. And then I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, some girls can't help the way that they're built. You're absolutely correct. But you still, like, that's the burden that you have, right? If a man got a 48-inch waist, he can't wear booty shorts. I mean, he can try, But the burden of this man is the way he is built, and therefore his clothes must accommodate him. It is the burden that we all have. But I think we confuse it, and I think that we say, well, this girl is dressed this way, and you're not objectifying her, but you're ostracizing her because she can't help the way that she's built. She also knows the way that she is built. She also is seeking attention and then objectifying herself so she can get that attention. So what you guys do is you blame the people who are supposed to be looking after this girl and protecting her. And we're talking about children now, right? The way some of these young girls dress to get attention is inappropriate. And you got to keep this in the context of this is how they are communicating to the world. If I walk around the streets of Milwaukee dressed like a cop, I got a uniform on, I got a badge, I got a cop hat. I wonder if Dr. Ken still has his cop hat. I bet he wears it at home when he's naked. What, you don't think he does? Rhea, you get offended by anything. I think it's hilarious. Imagine Dr. Ken running around with some handcuffs. Uh-oh, I don't have anywhere to hang my handcuffs. Uh-oh, what am I going to do? Chasing his wife around. Oh, he's going to be mad at me. It's Friday. Look, we talked about a Jehovah's Witness yesterday that doesn't receive blood transfusions. Every conversation is on the table now. But if Sherwin is walking around the streets of the city of Milwaukee dressed like a cop, I got a cop hat on. I'm borrowing a cop hat from Dr. Ken. I got the uniform on. I can even open carry a firearm because that's legal. And there's an emergency, like somebody just robbed somebody. Lady gets mugged on Wisconsin Avenue. Here's Sherwin walking out the 3rd Street Market Hall dressed like a cop. Cop hat on. Got a badge on. Got a cop name tag that says Sergeant Ken Harris. And they say, police officer, please help me. I just got robbed. Somebody just took my purse. I'm like, yo, get away from me. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't a cop, but I'm dressed like one. Isn't there an expectation that I'm a police officer if I'm dressed like one? The way you present yourself is how you are communicating non-verbally to the world. So how people dress, they need to take it very, very serious. And I got another example, in fact, from our very own basketball team here, the Milwaukee Bucks. You're going to want to stick around for this one. You're listening to The Truth. I'm Sherwin Hughes. This program airs Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until noon Central Standard Time. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at 1017 The Truth. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Who makes insurance simple? That's easy. Delta Dental of Wisconsin. So if you ask, what company encourages you to use your benefits for regular preventive care? Or who provides quick service online or by phone? Which insurance offers access to the largest provider networks? Or who helps you save money when you need more than a checkup? The answer's the same. Definitely Delta Dental. For dental and vision insurance made simple, choose Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision today.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. If you've been injured in a motorcycle crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Bikers are often blamed for causing the accident because the insurance companies simply don't want to pay. At Gruber Law Offices, we've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Trust us to fight for what you deserve. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Dear hero, whoever you are, thank you for donating plasma. My body literally gave up on me. Receiving plasma treatments was, to me, hope. Now that I'm out of the wheelchair, I love going on walks, swimming. Those were some of the things I was told that I would never be able to do.
I have swells all up and down my arms or my legs, my hands. I could have an airway swell, and that's life-threatening. I haven't had any attacks in about 3 months since trying it. It's crazy because it was daily that I'd have these, and it's just gone.
Because of you, I can walk again.
Because of you, I feel amazing.
Giving equals living. Give plasma. Replenish the supply. Make an appointment to give today by visiting hhs.gov/giveplasma. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number is here. Our phone number here is, it's been a long week, 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. 414-875 texts in and says, "Boys wear sagging pants showing their drawers. Did we determine what white culture is?" Well, that was yesterday's conversation, 414-875. White culture is something that you become, right? Because Europeans, because I guess we're basing it off of skin color, an old unscientific determination of what race is, and then white. Because if you're German, if you're Irish, if you're Polish, where else do white people come from? Italy, Greece, they come from Spain. So if you're from Spain, because somebody asked me this on Facebook yesterday, they asked me to define white Hispanic. Yeah, that only applies to somebody from the country of Spain. So when we categorize Latinos as Hispanic, we're probably doing it wrong, because if you're from Mexico or Venezuela, El Salvador, San Salvador, Nicaragua, you're not Hispanic. You're Latino or Latina. If you're from Spain, because Spain is a Western European country, Spain is as Western European as England is. But we don't see it that way. We think that Spanish people are all brown. No, Spanish people have blonde hair and blue eyes. And probably some of the most brutal colonizers, them and the Portuguese, were simply the worst. Oh my God, did they torture us? Like, they were mean. They were so horrible to us. But no, white Hispanics are from the country of Spain. And then when you come to America, in order to engage and enjoy in white privilege, you've got to shed some of your nationality and your ethnic skin to become white, right? Because German people don't call themselves German American. They can. Italians don't necessarily call themselves Italian Americans. I mean, they can. English people rarely call themselves English Americans. They can. They get here and they're white. And it's an interesting distinction, because many years ago, I don't even know if I completed this story yesterday, so much was going on yesterday's program, that I worked with a woman she's a white woman, Caucasian, of Dutch descent, but she was from South Africa. She was from Johannesburg. And she came to the United States, I don't know, several years prior to working at the YMCA, many, 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 many years ago. And I didn't even know this woman. I know she had a heavy accent, but we had a work retreat for the YMCA. And she looked at me. I was one of the only African Americans at this particular work retreat. And she looked at me and she said that I'm more African than you. I looked around like, I know this heifer ain't talking to me. I'm looking left and right. You know how you look around when you're in disbelief? But she had an accent, that South African. I'm more African than you. I said, come again? I'm from Johannesburg. I am technically African. I couldn't even argue with her. She literally was an African American. And so from that point forward, I've always been very confused, because someone of European descent who lives in or is from Africa, they're a citizen of an African nation, but their skin is white because they're Dutch, come to America. I'm like, what do you fill out on like an application where they're asking for demographics and you apply. Of course I fill out white. I was like, you got in my face talking about you African American. I said, what kind of soul food recipes you got then? I don't have any because I don't use seasoning. But I find it very interesting. So we determined yesterday that a lot of things that we believe white culture is just stereotypical stuff, but that's not today's topic. What else did you say in this comment? At Lisa was an eye-opening conversation yesterday. Jehovah Witnesses do not attend colleges. May explain their ideology, but imagine her strength/conviction to die for her God. Jehovah's can't go to college? Cut it out. Jehovah just seems unusually strict. But there's a whole bunch of Christians that choose not to go to college. And that may or may not influence their ideology as well. The hard part with religion is, and this is a debate I don't want to have, sometimes science and religious doctrine don't work well together. They contradict one another. And you almost have to be in one school of thought or the other. Either you believe in science and the scientific method, and you believe in theory and testing a theory and reporting on the theory and extracting data from the theory and replicating the theory to get reliable results. Like, that is the basic foundation of how we create technology. Religion sometimes goes counter and contrary to that. Or unless you fill in the blanks, the gray area, well, there's a whole bunch of things in science that we don't understand. That's God. So all the stuff that man doesn't understand, you fill in the blanks, like that's God's work. Okay, fair enough. 414333 says, Elon Musk is the richest African American in the world. Ouch. Is he an American citizen? I imagine so. He's also a bit of a white nationalist too. If you ever analyze and listen to some of his philosophies, he's on the spectrum too. So maybe I should give him a little more latitude. Elon Musk he's autistic, like not a lot. Like his autism is like productive because it helped him make Teslas and shoot rockets into space. So I guess good for him. But no, he's very kind of white nationalist. This is not even what we're talking about. See how y'all distract me? It's already been a long week now. Young girls may not know how a world full of adults or even other boys may interpret their nonverbal expression in how they dress. Because we know that how someone dresses should be an intentional act. They chose those clothes, and people do choose their clothes, and they take a lot of pride in what they wear. Let me give you an example. I've been going to Bucks games for a very, very long time. For all of the games, save for the last, 4, 5 years? Certainly since the Bucks started playing at the Fiserv Forum, the Bucks got rid of their all-female, scantily clad, probably only given the opportunity to be an energy dancer because of how they look, because of their body type. Of course, their dancing ability and their, choreography skills have got to play a role as well. But back when the Bucks had the energy dancers, those girls, the body types were similar. Petite, very much in shape, right? Because the uniforms that they wore objectified their physiques. Now, you got to keep in mind with the NBA now. The NBA is part basketball, large part entertainment. Going to an NBA game is an experience. And quite honestly, of all the sporting events that I have been to, and I've been to plenty, I've been to every major sporting event and playoffs. I don't know if I've ever been to a national championship before of a professional sports team, but I've been to plenty of playoffs. I've been to hockey playoffs. I've been to professional basketball. I've been to Packers playoffs games. Nothing compares to an NBA playoff series. It is electric. There's literally something in the air. That is a part of the entertainment. Who they have performing at the halftime, it is an entire experience, and it's also getting incredibly expensive. In fact, I saw something on the news this morning saying that very soon the Milwaukee Bucks will be the 5th most expensive team to get tickets for, and to have a full experience, buying food, getting a soda, getting a beer. A hot dog is $7.50. You know how many packs of hot dogs you can buy for $7.50? But it's not the same if you buying the hot dogs and eating them at home as opposed to watching them live while Giannis dunks on somebody. Right? The energy dancers, which have now been done away with, and the uniforms that they wear. Melanie Ricks will tell you all about it. She was out there kicking a leg and jumping around and doing a robot, whatever she was out there doing when she was an energy dancer. Now you have the 414 crew, right? That's right, right? Y'all wear sweatpants. Y'all out there wearing flight pants, T-shirts. Y'all don't dress the same.
Excuse you.
No, I'm not saying anything untrue. Y'all do not wear the same, so it's co-ed now. And it makes a lot of sense because the world has become much more politically correct, and having scantily clad, tiny little petite girls wearing booty shorts and these tiny little tops out there dancing, and they're very skilled dancers. Like, these are professional dancers, make no mistake about it. But we can't sit here and say that doesn't objectify women. It objectifies women like beauty pageants do. Like, why do they still have a damn swimsuit competition? Because we still objectify women's bodies, and the energy dancers represented that. So now we've done away with it, and now it is co-ed. And the clothing that is worn, while it is uniform, it is not objectifying the dancers' bodies. And you can't argue with that. I know you're ready to disagree with me, Rhea, but right? And it's great, right? Because now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Because y'all know when I go to the Bucks games, I got to sit real close, you see. I got bad eyes. I got to sit close. And I'll sit literally at center court, right? And when the energy dancers performed, I was so close to them that you could like feel like the wind of them moving around and jumping. I was that close. I didn't notice a lot of dancing. I didn't. Now with the 414 crew, I'm like, wow, this is fantastic choreography. They must have a lot of muscle memory. Oh, look at the precision in which they are exercising their dance moves. You can be much more focused on the art and on the craft of their dancing instead of all of the kibbles and the bits that used to be on display with the energy dancers. And I think it's great. Now it's co-ed, right? All right. I didn't get screamed at by Rhea, so I must have stayed on task in my explanation. Bottom line is the nonverbal communication of having a bunch of girls out there that are essentially hired because of how they look in the scantily clad uniform. They've done away with that because they don't want to have to objectify women to get attention. They're now, it seems, much more focused on the dancing and the choreography as a part of the overall entertainment experience. Go Bucks. I hope they don't trade Giannis. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show. I will be joined by representatives from CLAW to discuss their Lunch and Learn workshops, mental and emotional healing, and the importance of having spiritual healing in your life. Again, that is the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. For more information, visit clawclaww.org.
This Brewers Top Moment is presented by Network Health.
April 5th, 2023, with the Brewers and Mets tied at 6 apiece in the bottom of the ninth, it was the Brewers rookie, yet again, Garrett Mitchell, coming to the plate, looking to send the home crowd home with a winner.
And the pitch. Hit in the air to right and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here! Gone for Garrett Mitchell! He just
This Brewers Top Moment is presented by Network Health.
Hi, I'm John McGivern. If you are looking for a Medicare plan with freedom and flexibility, choose a Network Health Medicare Advantage plan. Plans start as low as $0 a month with $0 doctor visits and $0 prescription drugs, plus vision, hearing, and dental benefits. For 40 years, Network Health has been a trusted expert in making health insurance affordable and understandable. Don't wait. Call 833-7NETWORK today.
Looking to buy your first house, expand it to a forever home, or simply want to refinance? At Associated Bank, we've got you. We believe that with the right lending plan and guidance, everyone can achieve their dreams. And Associated Bank is here to get you there. Because believe it or not, your financial goals are within reach. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Truth Nation, join the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness on Saturday, September 30th at the St. Francis Parish from 2 until 5 p.m. for the prestigious Wine, Women, and Wings Red Carpet Affair. This event will honor 10 outstanding women who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, commitment, and resilience which profoundly impacts our community. The Red Carpet Affair will include food, drinks, jazz music, and a raffle. Tickets are $150 per person. Get yours today by visiting claw.org, that is CLAWW.org today. This is 1017 The Truth's Sherwin Hughes, and I am Milwaukee. This show has meant so much to me because it's an opportunity for me to express my thoughts and my feelings to my community, and for my community to express those same thoughts and feelings right back to me. Milwaukee means a lot to me. I was born here, raised here, educated here, and I am committed to making this a better city. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the new 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee, Black Talk.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
A black high school student in Texas has been suspended for more than 2 weeks for wearing a natural hairstyle the school officials say violated the district's dress code. Daryl George, a junior at Barbers Hill High School in Mont Bellevue, a town roughly 40 minutes outside of Houston, has faced numerous in-school suspensions since August 31st due to his dreadlocks, which school officials say violates the district's dress code, according to local media reports. So I draw a line here because hair is cultural expression. And there's also racial overtones to it. But I also have let's just say a diverse perspective when it comes to hair and hair being police. And I'm not even talking about women's hair being police because I dare not wade in those waters. I played high school football under the institution known as Coach George Blanchard. There are men of probably 2, if not 3 generations that had the privilege to be coached by George Blanchard. Not only was he a coach, he was a mentor. He was a father figure to a lot of boys. He was there for us during the school day, after school, and even long after we graduated. And thank God he is still with us. In fact, I ran into his nephew. I recorded an episode of the Hopcast. They do this video podcast where they promote usage of the streetcar. And the cameraman was actually my former football coach, George Blanchard's nephew. So he and I were able to talk about, reminisce about old George Blanchard. Glad he's doing well. 2 of our star football players, my junior year when Brown Deer was widely favored to win the Parkland Conference, and we did. 2 of our best players, a guy named Paul Moransky, who was a tight end and a defensive end, all-conference receiver and defensive end, stellar athlete at the time. And a guy named John Zawicki, who was our center. I remember what Brian Bosworth looked like, had the blonde mullet and always wore sunglasses. That's what John Zawicki looked like. He was also an all-conference center. We needed these 2 players if we were going to live up to the hype of winning a conference championship. That must have been 1991. Our coach had very strict rules. If he saw hair hanging out the back of your helmet, he didn't care who you were. You were off of his football team. On game days, on Friday, because high school football, we play on Friday unless it's playoffs, we had to wear, at the very minimum, a shirt and tie. If you didn't have a shirt or tie, you better get one. You better borrow one. We had to promote an image of being decent, of being disciplined, of looking like a team, and looking sophisticated on game day, because we were all about business on the football field. So we had to show that we were all about business on game day in the classroom. You see, there was no exceptions. I'm not lying to y'all. If you didn't wear a shirt or a tie on game day, you weren't playing. So we start two-a-days that summer. I'll never forget it. So it must have been the summer of 1991, because that it was 1991 football season, because I was a junior. And our two best players, Paul Moransky and John Zawicki, grew their hair out. They grew their hair long that summer. Or they probably let it grow from the previous football season, right? So for a year, they let your hair grow. They let their hair grow. And I remember when we suited up and they put them helmets on, and Coach Blanchard, so black kids at the time, we didn't have that to worry about because we were wearing high top fades. Our hair went up. So our hair never stuck out underneath the bottom of our helmets. And this was back in the day, back when black boys wasn't wearing dreadlocks yet. In fact, I didn't go to school with anybody wearing dreadlocks, male or female. But then again, I went to school, graduated from high school in the 90s. In fact, my 30-year reunion is October 6th. So dreadlocks weren't a thing. And so we suit up, and Paul Moransky and John Zawicki and they both were blonde, had this long blonde hair sticking out the back of their helmets. And Coach Blanchard, he rarely used profanity. Remember, these are our two best players. And he just went into this tirade. He's like, you know that we don't allow that here. What's wrong with you? And he used very, very colorful language. He berated. These are our two best players. And he said he concluded his tirade because the white boys had grew their hair out long in violation of everything that the institution of Coach George Blanchard stood for. He said, get off of my field. Take off them uniforms and go home. And we're all freaking out. The rest of the team's like, what is we going to do without Paul and John on the team? They walked off, tail between their legs and everything, went to the locker room, and guess what we did? We resumed practice, and Coach made it abundantly clear to the rest of us, when we set a code, when we set a standard, if we don't want your hair hanging out the back of your helmet because of the image that it presents, it's simply not going to happen. He was like, I don't care who you are. I'll kick you off my team. But here's what we noticed about 10 minutes later. John Zawicki and Paul Moransky came back onto the field, still in uniform, helmets on. You know what they did? They found some scissors in the locker room used to cut athletic tape, and they cut their hair with scissors so they could get back on the football team. That is commitment. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour two.
Tune in to the award-winning 1017 The Truth this Saturday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance, hosted by me, Dr. Ken Harris, and Fred Johnson, the Vice President and Wisconsin State Manager for Erie Insurance. Fred and I will discuss the risk of insurance fraud, the steps you need to take to protect you and your family, all from becoming victims of it. So again, don't miss Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance this Saturday, 10 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Coming with straight truth.
In my lifetime, I've watched, we got to intercede when they're in high school. We got to intercede when they're a junior. Intercede when they're a sophomore, freshman. Got to intercede when they're in 8th grade. It's the time in between. Oh, no, it's 6th grade. It's 5th grade. Now we're talking 3rd grade. So at what point will we figure out it's a good time?
Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Clarkson. Every American dreams of creating a better life for his or her family, but in some communities, those dreams face difficult challenges. When we come together to help those in need get the same opportunities as everyone else, we truly are making our country a better place to live for all of us. So look for volunteer opportunities in your community to help others achieve the American dream, all right? This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Join the livest radio show in Milwaukee, Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. Listen every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So during hour 1, we were talking about the necessary enforcements of dress codes and that employers can require them. You are representing that company, and if they want you to wear a particular type or style of attire, well, some jobs require uniforms, and we don't argue with that. Our police officers, depends on what their position, what their rank is, they have to wear a uniform. Because depending upon what the job is, you want to be able to non-verbally communicate what you do. Even children can identify a police officer's uniform, and that makes sense. You want police officers, as an example, in uniform. So if a child can recognize that non-verbal communication and that child needs help, they can say, oh, that's a police officer because I recognize the uniform. Now, you got detectives that might wear a T-shirt and jeans, and undercovers that might wear God knows what. But for the most part, we have an expectation that certain jobs require a uniform. Firefighter, right? They have mostly protective gear, but again, easily recognizable. And that's not far-fetched. But when it comes to children, children's behavior needs to be policed. All right? Boys and girls. Now, I know the girls are going to get all hot under the collar when I talk about this. Wearing certain kinds of clothes and saying, oh, this is a young girl showing her independence and her individuality. No, children's behavior, including what they wear, need to be policed. And I ain't a fan of these kids sagging their pants. Now, I remember, did I tell y'all this story? I probably did. I was hanging out with Russell Stamper. We went out for food and some drinks. This was probably last fall. I ain't going to tell you where we went because I might go there again. I don't want to see none of y'all there bothering me. And one of the servers, a young African-American man, was sagging his pants significantly. And he's literally going into the kitchen and bringing out people's food. And I just didn't really pay no attention. He wasn't our server because Russ and I was sitting at the bar. But Russ was like, oh, Sherwin, you see this dude over here? I'm like, Russ, I ain't paying no attention to him. Let that man be. If the manager of this joint ain't saying nothing to him, I ain't going to say nothing to him. Let that man be. No, man, I don't like that. Russ, the man is at work. He bringing out the food, putting the food on people's tables. He running back and forth to the kitchen. Let that man be. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. Russ pulls him aside and tells him whatever he says. And the young man, I think he obliged. I think he actually did pull his pants up. My perspective on that was, would I dress like that? No. If his employer, and we saw the manager was a white lady, and everybody there was young. The whole staff was young. The bartenders were young. The servers, the hostess were all young. Even the manager was young. And maybe because the culture of this particular establishment, right downtown actually, right down the street from where I'm at right now, because the entire culture of that establishment was young, maybe that's acceptable for Gen Z people in the service industry. But again, it is still nonverbal communication, because if you have somebody coming in from out of town and happens to step into this restaurant, maybe they're unfamiliar with Milwaukee, and they see a server. I mean, the whole ass was out. Ass out, literally. He was sagging. In fact, his pants were so low, his belt that he was using to keep his pants up were pretty much tightened around his thighs. It was ridiculous. I just try not to look at it. You know what I mean? But if the manager isn't saying anything, then obviously that did not violate the dress code. A weird dress code it may be, but didn't violate it. Now, it can be offensive to customers because what is that saying to the customers non-verbally? Because if you think that if a server is going to dress like that, are they going to have, what kind of care and attention are they going to be placing on the food preparation? You know what I'm saying? You can infer a whole bunch of things when management is that loose with the dress code. But if we agree that we have to police children's behavior, and I know that you all agree because we talk about the things that the young people are doing and the crimes they're involved in and the car thefts, we police their behavior, quite honestly, with the police. But parents also have an obligation, and nobody disagrees with this. You have an obligation to police your children's behavior, and what they wear is a part of their behavior. It is how they are presenting themselves to the world. And if there's a young girl who wants attention, because attention for, I guess, men and women, but with women, it's totally different. It's like currency. You can feel wealthy if you're getting a tremendous amount of attention because of how you are showing off your body. That is dangerous, especially if non-verbally this girl is seeking attention, but only attention, right? It's only wanted attention. She doesn't want anybody to touch her. And of course, legally, nobody can touch her, but she is communicating something very specific to the world when she dresses that way. And so this is where I want to give, some credit to men who are expected to protect even those women who are making bad choices and make bad decisions, because as men, we got to take responsibility for everything we say, everything we do. We got to take responsibility for stuff that's not even our fault. A woman is on the pill. She doesn't take her pill, or she's irresponsible with it. She gets pregnant. Guess what? His fault. We ain't even gonna have that argument. He did it. He got her pregnant. A woman don't ever say, I got myself pregnant. What's a man say? Oh, man, I got this girl pregnant. Like she played no role in it whatsoever, right? And so if men are expected to protect women all the time, even those that we don't know, then there needs to be a level of responsibility of how those women who seek protection from strange men, from unknown men, are presenting themselves to the world. It is a contract in which we are entering. If you seek the protection from men, from the big scary men that are out there in the world, then the way you present yourself to the world needs to be in accordance with the level of respect that you have for yourself. But of course, I can't have that conversation because women get upset. Then don't expect our protection because we don't know how another person is going to interpret your nonverbal communication of how you dress. And I've been reformed in my thinking. I used to think that women dressed in a provocative manner for men's attention. Nah, in rare cases do they do that. It's usually so they can be the prettiest woman or the woman with the most banging body compared to other women. Because women can get attention from men easily by doing next to nothing, quite honestly. But it's not about us. But we're expected to protect her if someone interprets her scantily clad dress as being promiscuous. And sometimes it's not. It's a joke. It's a trick. It's deception. She'll dress that way, but if you try and talk to her, say hello to her, get away from me. Don't talk to me. Yeah, but your butt cheeks are hanging out, ma'am. Leave my butt cheeks alone. Those are my butt cheeks. You can look at them. In fact, go on Instagram and like all of my butt cheek pictures, but do not talk to me because I got my butt cheeks out. But you can like and comment. Like, comment, share, and follow. It's insane. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. There are things that women do to get attention. And I'm trying to think. Well, men do it too. Men flash. Men peacock. Men will display gratuitous amounts of excess. And women, I suppose, can do this too. Men, expensive jewelry, a flashy car, Some of these fools is wearing $2,000 and $3,000 sunglasses. I got Versace sunglasses, but they ain't no $2,000 and $3,000. They're expensive now, but they wasn't that expensive. But men, okay, here's an example: a woman who's wearing a tiny skirt and a top that's, let's just say, form fitting, and some heels, like make them calf muscles go pow. Little skirt, heels, calves, pow, tight blouse. And a man approaches her because he obviously is attracted to what he is seeing, and maybe he's even respectful in his approach. She can be like, how dare you think that I am a particular type of woman just because of how I'm dressed? And this man will back away. Oh, I'm sorry, but you were communicating to me and the rest of the world some overt, sexual display, right? But men can do the exact same thing too and be deceptive. A man can flash a wad of money, have on a nice watch, have on jewelry, have on very expensive clothes, even have a nice car. And if a woman wants to talk to him, like, oh, wow, you're presenting like you have money. But girl, I'm broke. This car belonged to my uncle. This money is borrowed. These ain't my glasses. And I borrowed these clothes from my cousin because he's in jail and can't wear them no more. Isn't that the exact same thing? He is presenting himself and deceiving the world like he is wealthy, like he has money, like he has all this excess resources in which he can adorn himself with all this expensive fashion. And a woman who is looking for a man to be able to pay for things for her and take care of her can be just as deceived by him as he can be deceived by her wearing the tiny skirt, wearing the form-fitting blouse and the heels that make her calves go plat out. You see how that works? And then the man should get offended. How dare you think I have money just because I'm wearing all of these expensive things and I pulled up in a Mercedes-Benz, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Cadillac, Lotus? How dare you think that? You're objectifying me. It's the same damn thing. And we would say negative things about that man that is fronting like he has money. He is peacocking because he wants what? Attention. We would shame him for doing that. In fact, fellas, let me give you a rule of thumb, some good advice. You don't have to take it, but it could be useful. If you're broke, look broke. Because then if a woman wants to talk to you, if she wants to approach you, money is not going to be on her mind. All right, that's the first rule of thumb. Look broke. Wear crappy shoes, right, Rhea? No? All right. Here's another rule of thumb. Fellas, if you have money, lots of money, oodles of money, you got assets, you got investments, you have portfolios, you have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, you trade options. Ooh, you got so much money. Money is your hobby. Okay? Oh, you got all the dough. You have so much dough, you own many bakeries. The way you present yourself, wealthy man with all the stocks and the options and the bonds and the assets and the mutual funds and the real estates, and you also call Excel Property Management to manage all of your real estate portfolio. Check them out online at excelprop.com. You see what I did there? I'm getting good. I'm getting good. Rich men, you need to look broke too. Because then if a woman is seeking your company, your attention, money won't be her expectation. Shock her when you find out you guys get along, you're compatible, and you start dating. Then you let her know that you have money. In fact, you need a hoopty. You need a trapper, a car. I don't know if they call them trappers anymore. Back in the day, we called them trappers, a raggedy car. It's like, your runabout car. You get you a little Honda Civic, get you like a 1999, 2000 Honda Accord, a Toyota Camry. Very reliable cars, very sensible transportation. That's what you run your little errands in. Maybe that's the vehicle you drive in the wintertime. Put your nice snow tires on it. You're good, reliable car. They'll run forever. You change the oil in a Honda and a Toyota, they'll last you. They'll last longer than we will. Toyotas and Hondas live longer than black people. Get you one of those. Pick her up in that. See what her response is. If she turns her nose up or if she has higher expectations, then she is not the woman for you. Go on a couple dates with her in your Trapper and your Honda Civic and your Toyota Camry, right? And then one day, shock her, pull the Bentley out the yard. She'll be like, well, I thought that you had a Trapper. Where did you? Oh, this is a Bentley. And all of a sudden, if you listen very closely, you'll just hear the sounds of water flowing. You just shh, gush. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Make sure you follow us on the Instagram and the Twitter and the Facebook and YouTube. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Truth Nation, join the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness on Saturday, September 30th at the St. Francis Parish from 2 until 5 p.m. for the prestigious Wine, Women, and Wings Red Carpet Affair. This event will honor 10 outstanding women who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, commitment, and resilience which profoundly impacts our community. The Red Carpet Affair will include food, drinks, jazz music, and a raffle. Tickets are $150 per person. Get yours today by visiting claw.org, that is CLAWW.org today.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers.
The next disaster is coming. The time to get ready is now. Make a plan. Identify meetup locations and people you'll need to contact. Put your contact list in your wallet, on your phone, and somewhere visible in your home. Build a kit. Store enough food and water for 3 days. Don't forget your pets. And consider buying a pre-made kit. Keep at least 7 days of medication on hand. Work with your pharmacist and insurance company to secure the extra doses. Make copies of important documents. Keep them on your phone, in the cloud, or on a USB stick. Stay informed. Learn about local hazards. Take courses in CPR and first aid, and sign up for local alert systems. An early warning can give you the time you need to prepare for a fast-moving disaster. Be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Always at work, one of my favorite trolls says, the difference is that is a uniform. There is no streetwalker or stripper uniform. You are then projecting your thoughts and feelings, which are not the truth, just how you feel. Stop projecting. Clothes and hairdos don't make the person. Yes, they do. Tell yourself that all you want to. You are projecting an image when you leave the house, when you choose that hairdo, that hairstyle, that length of hair, that style of hair in those clothes. Adults need to be much more responsible. There's one thing I ain't got no tolerance for, is an irresponsible adult that does one thing but means another. That's not the world's issue to decipher. That's your confusion. And so when you talk about there's no stripper uniform, and here's the other thing always at work, strippers ain't just out walking on the street. Strippers are at strip clubs. And that is where that kind of dress is acceptable. It's an adult establishment. You got to be 21 to get in. And the streetwalker uniform, well, they may not have a uniform, but all you got to do is check for missing teeth. That'll sum that up pretty good. You are explaining and expressing yourself to the world when you are making choices about how you present yourself. And this is stuff that we should have learned as kids. We talked about church yesterday, extensively, in fact. Black folks love to dress up to go to church because we want to communicate that we take this very serious. Being in the house of the Lord and worshiping is something worth getting dressed up for. Because if you go to a black church where the dress is usually very formal and you show up in a dirty T-shirt and some jeans, you're going to get looked at funny. Now, I firmly disagree with that because anyone who wants to go to the house of the Lord should feel welcome no matter what they're wearing. Somebody could be homeless and want to get some word, want to get some inspiration. They should be welcome into any house of worship, any religion, but we know that's not the case. You are presenting yourself. That's why people got church clothes. There's a whole category of shoes. And I don't know, women have different styles of shoes that they wear because women take shoes very seriously. But it's a whole category of shoes for young boys called church shoes. It's the hard bottoms. It got your church shoes. Because it is very intentional how you present yourself when you are going certain places. And what I think that is, I think it's deceptive. I think it's trickery. And I also think it's reflective of somebody's insecurity. If they dress a certain way just to trick people, right? I'm going to present myself this way, but this is not who I am at all. I want to play a joke on society. I want to have them thinking one way about me, but I'm really somebody else. Hairstyles are different, though. That is different. What they are doing to this 17-year-old kid in Texas, this is unfair. His name is Daryl George. He's a junior at Barbers Hill High School in Mont Bellevue, a town about 40 minutes outside of Houston. He's 17 years old, and he was suspended just before Texas's Crown Act. And the Crown Act, if you're unfamiliar, is a piece of federal legislation. States are adopting it as well. The acronym is Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, banning race-based hair discrimination before it went into effect statewide. Here's what they're making this kid do. He has to sit on a stool for 8 hours in a cubicle. Daryl's mother, Dorisha George, told the Associated Press that's very uncomfortable. Every day he'd come home and say his back hurts because he has to sit on a stool. School officials say George's dreadlocks fell below his eyebrows and earlobes, which violated the district's dress code. And the district is asking a court to clarify whether the new law, the Crown Act, prohibits grooming policies addressing the length of a male student's hair. Texas is also a different place, especially whatever district this is, 40 miles outside of where? Houston? Texas is a very Christian, conservative, red, Republican, Trump-loving state. And while not every part of Texas is like that, the people who make the rules and who make the decisions in Texas, including dress codes, I'm sure at jobs and in high schools, probably have some of those sentiments go into the decisions they make about hair. Because hair can be biological, but hair can also be altered. It's a very complicated subject, but it also can be used to racially discriminate. The texture and the styles of the hair that different races of people wear vary widely. And if they are using the dress code to discriminate against this young man, now see, I wonder if the same applies to girls. Do they give girls a pass? Can their hair be long? I'm assuming that they probably allow that when it comes to girls. But if it violates the dress code, well, then I guess that's an issue. Once they determine, is it race-based while they're suspending this young man, or is it because, look, they have a strict adherence to dress code? Well, then it is what it is, right? Now, that doesn't mean that the mother should not fight, should not get it changed. But that's the thing about rules. We like the ones that either we make or the ones that are easy to follow. And I don't know how we figure this out, but society needs to have, there's got to be some kind of order and some kind of structure. And maybe we can be a little bit more loose with it, I suppose. And that's the issue with having a free country with all of this individuality, the rules and the order and the discipline. That's what's lacking. Wearing certain clothes and adhering to a certain style requires discipline, and people don't want discipline. But we want to discipline people that harm us, right? Then we're okay with discipline. We want to discipline children. If I have the conversation with y'all about how you best feel children should be disciplined, y'all want to physically abuse these kids because you feel that discipline is important. But what about the nonverbal kind of discipline that you need to have when you are policing your style of dress? Or do no rules apply? This is the part that I've always been confused about, and still to this day, no one or no thing has offered me any clarity. You guys ever been to a beach, where there's sand and water on Florida? I went to Florida in March for my birthday. Had a good time in Florida. Ooh, it's hot as the dickens in Florida on the beach. I walk around on the beach with my toes in the sand. I was wearing swimming trunks, even though I don't know how to swim. And I ain't had no shirt on. I was living my best life. I was kicking it. Laid back on the beach, walking around. I ain't had no shoes on, sand all in my toes. I feel good. That sand in your toes. And then like you go and you get in the water. You run right up to where the waves is coming. Oh, snap, the wave is coming. It's a fun little game you play with the water. I couldn't wear no shoes, my swimming trunks, even though I don't know how to swim, and having no shirt on going into a restaurant, right? Or do I walk in the restaurant saying, well, I just came from the beach and you're discriminating against me because I got sandy feet and I'm not wearing no shoes and I don't have a shirt on. I'm wearing swimming trunks even though I can't swim. Y'all would all think that I was ridiculous, right? How you dress is a form of discipline. And I think what we're starting to see is very few people have discipline. All right, Dwayne says, whatever happened to Hooters? Well, they're still around. They exist in pairs. Oh, the restaurant. So they had one over by Southridge. It was just off of South 76th Street. Was it on Layton? They had a Hooters over there. And when I used to visit my people up in Minneapolis, they had a Hooters in the Mall of America. And so that my guy, he picked me up from the airport. And so first stop, we go to Hooters and get some chicken wings. Can I just tell you, Hooters chicken wings are terrible. Want to know why? Let me tell you why, Rhea. Don't look shocked. Nobody goes to Hooters for the wings. No one. Come on. You go to the Hooters for the Hooters.
I've never been there to eat the wings. I've never been to Hooters before, but I heard the wings were good.
Somebody
what are
lied.
you saying?
Somebody lied to you. Whenever, because people love chicken wings, like people that eat chicken wings are connoisseurs. Like they'll tell you where you can get the best wings, right? People that, like there's wing snobs out there in the world. They don't never mention Hooters. You can have lackluster food. And look at the uniform. Have you guys ever seen, of course you have, the Hooters uniform it's an owl, but the eyes of the owl are really big, really round, and really exaggerated. And the pupil of the eyes of the owl in the mascot of Hooters look like nipples. That's what the Hooters franchise is based on, even though they try and say it's a family-friendly environment. Y'all, come on. These girls is wearing hot booty shorts, orange booty shorts, and white tank tops. Tight, skin tight. Hooters ain't got no good wings. But, I mean, if that's what you're into. But nobody goes to Hooters for the... It's basically a step below a strip club, or it's an all-ages strip club. Because if you go to a strip club, what some of the girls come out on stage wearing is very similar. Because sometimes they'll wear little tiny skirts, or they'll wear little itty-bitty shorts, and they might be wearing a top, right? So Hooters is just basically an unstripped stripper that serves poor chicken wings. Hooters is not a sponsor here, so I guess I can talk about them freely. That's fine. But here's the part that I can't understand. Sometimes women wear bathing suits when they go to the beach because it's appropriate attire. Sometimes they wear one pieces. Sometimes they wear two pieces. There's a whole bunch of different styles and types of bikinis. You got halter tops, you got string bikinis. There's all sorts. Depending upon the style of the bikini, it's literally, ladies and gentlemen, bra and panties. There is very little difference between, now this is some bikinis. Some bikinis look very intentional. Some two-piece swimsuits are very intentional, okay? But then there's others that literally, and there's thong, there's G-string bikinis. it's appropriate on the beach. But I cannot tell the difference because a woman can't walk around. It depends on where you're at. When we were in Florida, there literally were women that would wear like flip-flops in their bikinis just throughout the town. And the little village area, we stayed near John's Pass in Madeira Beach. And there was people walking around, women walking around with just their bikini tops on that literally look like bras. And some of them would wear shorts over their bottom. Some of them wouldn't. They were just wearing shoes, wearing flip-flops, walking around John's Pass. It's a beach town on the Gulf side of Florida. That's unacceptable essentially anywhere else, right? But I never understood the difference because if a woman wore her, this is the other part, if she wore her bra and underwear to the beach that looked like a bikini, that's offensive, even though some bikinis are more they're lingerie, essentially. It is a place in which women can legally and legitimately wear lingerie in public where otherwise it would be inappropriate. And I think that we all know and understand that because we all know and understand that having an understanding of context of what you wear and where you go should make an awful lot of sense. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is facing backlash from Democrats and Republican colleagues on his decision to loosen the U.S. Senate's dress code to accommodate Senator John Fetterman, and senators may wind up debating the issue on the Senate floor. They are now loosening the dress code on the U.S. Senate. Earlier in the program, I talked about how deliberate that legislative body is and the power that they wield. They advise and consent on federal justices to sit on the district courts, the appellate court, and the U.S. Supreme Court forever. They also, the U.S. Senate, is the body that can convict, literally throw a president out of office if the House finds them guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors. Is it acceptable for members of the U.S. Senate, the highest legislative body in America, if not the entire world, for them to allow a single man to wear shorts and wrinkled T-shirts while debating bills and voting on bills in the U.S. Senate? Dress code means a lot nowadays, I think. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
And what are some of the ways that you're inspiring people? Because, one of the biggest opportunities, in particular in the African-American community, is access, exposure, and awareness.
For Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin, we've been here 76 years.
Wow.
And our mantra is saving the lives you love. So if someone you love needs a blood transfusion and they're in any hospital in Southeast Wisconsin here, that blood's coming from us. And so we're trying to make sure that we're communicating that because I think folks maybe don't understand that blood can't be manufactured. And summers are always tough because schools are out and we collect about 20 to 25% of our blood from schools. Mm-hmm. So it's always a day-to-day struggle. We say that the blood that's on the shelves is the blood that saves lives. And a lot of times people are compelled to donate when something bad happens. And our mission and our job is to educate folks so that we can get ahead of the curve and keep 3 days of inventory on the shelves. Mm-hmm. So we're in a decent spot right now, but we're on the streets every day trying to inspire people to join our mission. One of our big projects that we're proud of is Versity on King, which is part of the Thrive On collaboration in the Gimbel Schuster building on Martin Luther King Drive. And next year, we're going to open a destination center there. It'll be a blood donation center, but it'll be more than that because we've realized that we can't be transactional with our relationships in the Black community. We need to do things that are intentional and that show that we're there to stay. But the reason that we're there is because not enough people that look like us donate. And so for disorders like sickle cell disease that disproportionately affect us, the race can matter. But I like to say that, Black folks have a superpower in their blood. 44% of Black blood donors will have this rare trait that makes their blood more likely to be able to be a match for a sickle cell patient. And that 44% that is way higher than what we would find in other races.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today.
Hey, Rhea, what are you doing?
I'm online looking for a contractor to replace my roof, and I need a reliable company.
Have you contacted Excel Property and Contracting? They're located on 57th and North Avenue, and they have great reviews on Google, and they provide free estimates. In fact, They are doing storm damage inspections in the area. They'll come out, check on the exterior of your home for damage related to recent storms that may be covered by your insurance. To schedule your free inspection, contact Al Cole at 877-277-6817 or visit their website at excelprop.com.
Sharpen your investment and retirement strategy at the Annex Wealth Management Navigating the Markets presentation. What are the headwinds for portfolios in excess of $1 million? Will the long-awaited recession actually happen? And what can you do to calibrate your portfolio? Navigating the Markets takes place in Mequon September 26th and Brookfield October 5th. These premier events are open to everyone. Complete details and sign up at annexwealth.com/events. The American economy is at a critical juncture. What's next? Join us for Navigating the Markets from Annex Wealth Management.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snipe. Two more Brewers fans. The magic number for our Milwaukee Brewers to clinch the National League Central Division following the 6-0 win over the St. Louis Cardinals on Thursday afternoon. With that win and a Cubs loss, the Brewers now with an 8-game lead in the division as they will begin a 3-game series down in Miami tonight to face off with the Marlins. Coverage of that game can be heard over on 620 WTMJ beginning at 5 p.m. The Packers are just days away from opening their season at Lambeau Field as the Saints come marching into town. On Thursday, Aaron Jones did practice. However, the bad news, no David Bakhtiari, no Elton Jenkins, and no Christian Watson. Coverage of that game begins at 9 a.m. Sunday morning. That can be heard over on 620 WTMJ, as well as 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. And lastly, Friday Night Lights for Luke Fickell and the Wisconsin Badgers as they kick off Big Ten play tonight at Purdue. That game will begin at 6 p.m. This sports update is brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
The only difference between wearing a bra and panties in public, like around kids, is the context of location. You can wear a bra and panties on the beach. As long as there's sand and water, you can basically wear bra and panties. Because that's what a bikini is. You can call it. There's so little difference in some bikinis and some bras and panties. Because some bras and panties are conservative. The panty, let's say the granny variety, right? That's a conservative panty. And then you have some bikinis that are so skimpy, itty bitty, and they're tied together with strings. That is more provocative and more overt than the panty for the granny. I'm going to stop talking about, I guess the granny panty is comfortable. They're probably like briefs. Men can wear briefs. I just don't believe that a child over the age of like 12 or 13 should still be wearing briefs. Put on some boxers, gentlemen. Yeah, tighty whitey. Those are briefs. They just look, they're not comfortable. Do I need to explain men's underwear? Okay. How far into this do I want to get? And I got Bob on line 2. And then depending upon how far I go into my explanation of men and boxers and tighty whities, then Al is going to call and take it to a whole nother direction. So men's reproductive organs are external because there needs to be a certain temperature environment for men's testes to produce sperm, okay? Women's reproductive organs are tucked inside of their body because they're not nearly as temperature sensitive. When men wear tighter form-fitting undergarments, it keeps your reproductive organs much closer to your body, and it can be an unfavorable environment for sperm production. Now, this is for men that want to have children, that want to be fertile. When you wear boxers, it's just loose. Everybody just flowing around, everybody just relaxing. And it's just, you just dangling. They're more comfortable. Because why you want everything all sucked up, all tight? Boxers are very comfortable. Then there's the boxer brief, I suppose, which is basically long-legged, long-sleeved tighty whities, but whatever. What is this here? This is absolutely outrageous. 414-416 says. His parents complied by pinning his hair back so it was completely out of his face. He is the only child, including long-haired white children, male or female, transgender, etc., whose hair was in their eyes. When did the length of anyone's hair become an issue? I am certain I will find that it became a problem when black hairstyles were more in line with their African ethnicity. Give me a break, they say. This is just the same rabid racism that our people endured while enslaved, and every single day since. The parents must take a stand against the bigotry to teach their son that white people do not control who he is, even if it means they must remove their child from the offending school. The school is unworthy. There is no concession to be made here because they have revealed who they are. They must pursue legal recourse with a vengeance, assuming they have access to resources. This is another teachable moment to uplift the souls and self-image of our children. All right, then. I mean, is that the hill that they want to die on? You got to wonder if the parents were aware or if it was shared during an orientation of what the dress code and the hair expectations are. And I could see, especially if it's in a more Christian, even though it's a public school, I think it's a public school. You know what? I don't know if they noted it. Because if it's a private school, their rules are totally different. Totally different. So, yeah, I don't know if they were briefed on the rules. Don't know. But I suppose that's a fight if the parents want to undertake it. They can. Let's talk to Bob. It says, your comments are going to relate to men's hair and you playing the saxophone.
Hello, Sherwin. It's okay if I eliminate on Monday playing the sax. That's okay. And then I'll just wait.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Bob. Hear this real good. It is totally okay.
Okay. Because, see, I played the family reunion. They called me down. I played from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then they gangstered me and made me play a song at the end. Just like you danced when I first came down there. So I'm not, it sounds just terrible from my house to your studio. I'm not interested in playing. I'm sort of loyal. I don't, I started with you, I end on your show, whatever. Now, I mean, I don't want to get used to other people's personality like Dr. Ken's and Miss Riggs and playing on their show. See, I do it for two reasons, Sherwin. I do it for two reasons. One, to add a little spice to your show, and you do that anyway, and a little entertainment for your audience. And you are capable very much of doing that too. Now, I want to talk about that boy's hair. I mean, his hair, it looks nice. And you could say it looks cute. I'm not interested in looking cute. I'm interested in looking masculine. I guess so. I don't know if he should. And see, his mama said, I heard on TV, well, we're going to fight this. Well, she's taking up and it's making him kind of, babyish to me. My mama going to fight for me to keep my hair. Cut your hair off, whatever they need, and just go to school and learn some algebra, geometry, history, whatever. And then, I think that's what I think. Other than that, Sharon, I appreciate you letting me, because I am not a Pied Piper taking insects out of a store or whatever. And I don't want to make nobody's nose bleed either, And, that's about all. And I can't believe that woman you had on yesterday about that religion.
The Jehovah?
Oh, my God. I mean, no blood. And
that seems excessive.
And then she don't vote. I'm scared to ask her if Biden and Trump was running, she said Trump, I'd have a heart attack almost. I mean, my goodness.
Well, she defended herself by saying, put no faith in man, put all faith and trust in God. So voting, in her words, her interpretation, is putting faith in man. And when you're supposed to leave all that stuff up to God, to her, God is the president.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I would be worried. And Sherman, I've been listening to you every day. You had a rough week here, so you deserve a nice rest this week.
I mean, I had a rough weekend. What happened on my weekend that it was rough? My last weekend was smooth, brother.
No, you even said it in the beginning. I'm glad this has been a rough weekend. You even said it in the beginning.
I don't remember that. My weekend was good. But all right, Bob.
All right, you take care of yourself.
Okay, then now. All right, now. Watch yourself. Okay. All right, be cool. All right, then. I wasn't even going to say nothing about Bob playing the saxophone for 8 hours at his family reunion. I was going to let that one slide. I wasn't going to say none of that. You know why they did that? They kept making him play. No, Bob, keep going. So he wouldn't talk. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show. I will be joined by representatives from CLAW to discuss their Lunch and Learn workshops, mental and emotional healing, and the importance of having spiritual healing in your life. Again, that is the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. For more information, visit clawclaw.org.
Looking to buy your first house, expand it to a forever home, or simply want to refinance? At Associated Bank, we've got you. We believe that with the right lending plan and guidance, everyone can achieve their dreams. And Associated Bank is here to get you there. Because believe it or not, your financial goals are within reach. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Telly Hughes with his truth.
My mom used to always tell me, be careful of the company you keep. My interpretation of that message was, don't hang out around bad people doing bad things. When my thoughts became a little more sophisticated, I realized it was her way of making me understand the power of influence others can have on your decisions. No matter the distance perception might be from reality, you are or will become who you hang around. Benefit by surrounding yourself with like-minded people or mentors you can see yourself becoming and use their journey as a blueprint. That's why you don't see eagles hanging with pigeons, because they don't have the same goals or aspirations. Words are just words when you don't understand or practice the meaning. So I had to turn to one of my favorite books. That's right, sounds nerdy, but I went to the old dictionary to look up the word company. One of the definitions of company is the fact or condition of being with another or others, especially in a way that provides friendship and enjoyment. In addition to that definition, keep in mind the company you keep is a choice. The company you keep can propel you to great heights or rob you of all your hopes and dreams based on your association or who is championing you. Don't be afraid to stand up and stand out for the right reasons, even if that means having to do it alone, because sooner or later, others will understand.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Angel's Advocate says Charlize Theron is African American. She's South African. And I asked the Angels, would a black person from Germany be considered German American or black? And then I got crickets as a response. No response. What's this here? Al, not that Al. A different Al says, let me understand your topic is how young ladies dress today and their purpose for dressing that way. And I said, no. The topic is style of dress is nonverbal communication and behavior. Children's dress needs to be policed by adults, as does their behavior. Diane says some women dress to impress and bring out jealousy in other women. Of course they do. Isn't that the point? Women compete against each other for men. Y'all don't see it that way. Y'all think that men are everywhere and men are just expendable. Oh, I love when they say this. Well, what one man won't do, another one will. Lies. Lies. Oh, that's so false. You're going to get less from the other man. You're not happy with what you're getting right now? Go out into the world. Go ahead. Good luck. I wish you the best. You think they're just good men just sitting around waiting on you because you fed up with what you got at home? You're going to get less from the next man. High value men that have status, that have money, that are smart, that are funny. What else do they need? They got to be a certain height. Like all that stuff. That's a very, very, very small percentage of males. There are a lot of good women. With money, with jobs, with degrees, with good credit, all the things that men look for. There's a bunch of them. There's not a lot of men that meet the high water mark that most modern successful women are looking for. Those women who are good, got good credit, they're good in bed, got money, got a job, got a house, got all the stuff, got a car, got a Toyota Camry. It's a bunch of them. They're competing for those men who are at the very, very top of the heap. So women do compete. There's a misconception. I ain't gotta compete to get no man. For a good one, oh yes you do. Or the women that say I ain't gonna compete. Cool, be lonely. Don't make us none. Just be out there chilling. Also, I heard Denise a little bit this morning. I'll be wanting to come on Denise and Telly's show so bad, but Denise is a tough one. I'd rather do that when Denise is remote. When she's in the studio, it'll probably be different because she probably literally punched me. They were talking about Dwayne Wade. I guess he had a baby. He had another baby. He was cheating on Gabriella Union. That her name is Gabrielle Union, cheating on her. He had a baby. I didn't read the story anywhere. I didn't see it. That's what they were talking about this morning. And oh man, Denise was just berating him and all this disrespect. And I guess he has a history of not being very nice to women. The number of women that want Dwayne Wade makes it easy for him to disrespect all of them because there's a ton of women that would literally throw themselves at him and accept him for his cheating ways. Just saying. And Gabrielle, I guess they didn't get divorced, did they? I didn't know that he had another baby. I mean, it's quite embarrassing, but here's the thing. Obviously, it's evidence that he was being unfaithful, right? That he got caught because the woman got pregnant. That wasn't the first time that he was unfaithful to Gabriella Union. Ain't no way. That was just evidence that he did it and got caught. She stayed with him. Women stay with cheaters. In fact, it seems to me, this ain't even the direction I want to go in. Hour 3, I'm talking about black people forming their own country. Oh, look who's calling. It's Al. So hour 3, if you want to hear black people starting our own country, because if we don't like dress codes, if we don't like the cultural bias and the racism that exists, we're talking about the 17-year-old boy who's wearing dreadlocks and the school said, oh, that violates our hair code or our dress code. Why don't we start our own country? I know we talk about it, right? It'd be perfect. We could set all the rules, set all the standards. We could reject colonialism. We could reject white supremacy, right? White power. We could reject all that. We can create our own country, our own colony. We can do that. Why aren't we doing that if we don't like all of these rules? Well, that actually is much more of a reality than y'all may think. It seems to me that some women want a bad boy. Because the good boys that are too attentive, that are too available, turn women off. The bad boys have boundaries. They can't be tested. Fellas, you know that if a woman tests you, she's determining your fitness. If she can lead you around by your nose, she ain't never going to respect you. It's the bad boys that have boundaries. And the other thing is, don't some women, this is not all women, don't they want to play woe is me, talk about how terrible their man is awful, their man is dreadful. She's still staying with him, but all she does is complain about him, because then she gets to pretend she's the damsel in distress. Oh, my man is so terrible. He treats me so bad. She gets a whole bunch of sympathy, and guess what that is? That's attention. So it's twofold. She'll complain about how terrible her man is, and he don't do this right. He's just awful. Some of that, because you're asking yourself, why are you staying with him if he's this terrible? And all you do is complain about him and all the things he does and all the things that he doesn't do. Number one, it gets attention when she's always complaining about her man, because we're going to feel really, really sorry for her. We're going to offer her all sorts of sympathies. But another thing, I think this is the most effective output of ladies, when you complain about your man, and when you complain about your man to other women, how terrible he is, how awful he is. He don't do this, he don't do that. You're making him undesirable to them. So they're not going to want him. You still want him. You can complain about how terrible he is. He doesn't do this. He does too much of that. He's disrespectful. He don't come home on time. You found numbers in his phone. He liking other girls' pictures on the Facebooks and on the Instagram. Ooh, you just complaining about him. You can't stand him. And you tell all your girlfriends that. And guess what? They're going to hate him. Like, oh, he's terrible. You are making your man that you still want, even though he's doing all these terrible things, you're making him undesirable to them. Because here's one thing you do not want to do, ladies. You don't have to believe a word I'm saying. Don't tell your female friends how perfect and how wonderful your man is, how good he is in bed, how perfect he is, how he's attentive, how he cares for your needs, how he does everything you want. Don't do that. Oh, they're going to be jealous. And you think they won't pursue him to get back and shoot? You honestly think that? And some of y'all know precisely what I'm talking about, and it may hit home. It might be a little bit too personal. Do not ever tell another woman how wonderful and how perfect and how ideal your man is, your boyfriend, your husband, your fiance. Keep that to yourself. Hey, I know that you my girl's husband, but my car broke down, and she said that you're such a good man and you're so handy and you're so attentive. I know I had your phone number because she had given it to me a long time ago. Can you come and help me change my flat tire? Oh, yeah, of course. I'll do that for you because I'm a good man and I'm attentive and I'm very handy. He get there, it ain't no flat tire. Exactly. Oops, am I wearing lingerie? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Thank you for stopping over to change my tire. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
Tune in to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth this Saturday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance, hosted by me, Dr. Ken Harris, and Fred Johnson, the Vice President and Wisconsin State Manager for Erie Insurance. Fred and I will discuss the risk of insurance fraud, the steps you need to take to protect you and your family, all from becoming victims of it. So again, don't miss Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance this Saturday, 10 a.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Coming with straight truth.
Because they thriving off of the lack of knowledge. But it's a new day. And a lot of y'all don't understand that a lot of things that we understand to be true was socially engineered. Somebody sat back in a room and was like, hey, what if we get them to do this? You know what I mean? And they had a lot of money. All I'm saying is they want us to stay bots.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here and ready to help. Anyone can call or text 988 or chat via 988wisconsin.org to get connected to a trained Lifeline counselor. Trained counselors are here to support anyone experiencing a suicidal, mental health, or substance use crisis. You can also contact 988 if you are concerned about someone. 988 is confidential and free to all Wisconsin residents. 988 24/7. Call, text, chat. Here to support you. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Get the truth and nothing but the truth with Sherwin Hughes every weekday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 a.m. WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Let's read some of these comments. Markina said, "You're 100%. You're referring to women who constantly complain about their man and how horrible he is, yet they still stay with him. Because there's probably some realization that he's bad, but the rest of the men out there are potentially worse, and they probably are. And then also, you got to be careful, ladies, in bragging too much on your man and having that be a flex. Because if you are complaining, let's say you're the only married one and you're happily married, or you're in a relationship, a solid relationship, and all of your friends are not, and they're just going through dating and it's terrible. And dating is a drag, right? Especially for women, because y'all take a lot of risk in meeting a new man. Going out with him in public, whatever, it's a lot of risk. And if your friends are struggling with dating, they can't find a good, decent man, and you have one, and you're throwing that in their faces all the time, like jealousy is going to be bred from that. You just got to be really, really careful. If you're talking about how wonderful and how perfect your man is, how attentive he is, how good he is in bed, and you're bragging about this to women who are struggling to find an even halfway decent man, that's a recipe for disaster, because you think that they won't pursue him, or they'll put him in a position where it can be ambiguous whether he is pursuing them or not. What else we got? I got a bunch of text messages. 414-426 says, "Look, Reggie, we enter people in the grouper contest and then we do a drawing. I don't know why you keep telling me you so convinced you gonna win." Brittany says, "People need to get rid of the word panties." Okay. Of course, I naturally inquired and replaced that word with what? She said, underwear. Big difference between the two. Panties suggest something specific, something more frilly, something more feminine. Construction workers wear underwear. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not against you wanting to change the word, but that's going to still exist
in some people's vocabulary. You can't just tell people to stop using it. Brittany, you telling us a lot about your undergarments. Brittany, you wear underwear. Can I tell you guys something? You know it's bad. I'm nervous. Oh, I shouldn't do it. Whenever it is that I talk about an individual person, even if they don't listen, when I talk about an individual person, no matter when it is, it could be a Tuesday at 10 o'clock, could be a Thursday at 11:30. That's when they're listening. I know a woman. She's very nice, very intelligent, great job, makes fantastic money, makes six figures, okay? Has a beautiful home, got all the things. Super cute, right? Very feminine. Just adorable in her cuteness, right? But a woman, nonetheless, only wears men's underwear. Did I tell y'all this before? Have I mentioned that? Only. Not even comfortable women's underwear. Literally shops and only wears men's underwear. It's just such an incredible disappointment. You know what I mean? I've never engaged in activities with her. I mean, I can't. There's no way. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get past that. And maybe I'm shallow. But if I ever was to, and I'm not going to, engage in activities with this young woman, I mean, she checks a lot of boxes. She really does. But when the activities conclude, and you know when you got to get dressed after your activities conclude and you got to pick your clothes up and, you know, get dressed and make yourself look presentable so you can go back out into the world after you have concluded your physical, intimate escapades. I don't want to look down on the floor and not know whose underwear or who. Put hers on by accident. I don't want to. That's not cool. I can't understand it. And she justified by saying, oh, they're just more comfortable. And maybe this is, you know, my old misogynistic brain here. Some women want to be feminine underneath their clothes. They know nobody's going to see what they're wearing. And I think that's part of the mystique and the mystery. They want to feel sexy and pretty by wearing certain intimate attire. And it's almost the turn on the fact that nobody knows what they're wearing underneath their clothes. They could be a high-powered woman in the corporate boardroom, you know, presenting to shareholders some very important stuff. She could be executive vice president of who knows what and just wearing some just frilly, very sexy, intimate lingerie, and nobody knows. That's fantastic. That's great. But a woman that wears only men's underwear, so does she feel like a dude when she goes out into the world? She's like, nobody knows that I feel like a man underneath my clothing. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Well, first thing I want to say is to all the women, a bad boy, he's only good for an orgasm. That's it. And your emotions should never touch nothing. It is just an act. Because most bad boys get off on playing with women emotions. So once you get done with him and you urinate everything out, go about your day. And if he call you the next day, don't answer the phone because you are a commodity. Also, when it comes to women competing, don't never compete. Because when you compete, you do it with a certain mentality and you do it with a certain mind frame. Your goal is just go get what you want. And it's by any means necessary, which means you're going to talk to all ethnic groups. Don't just go for one because you're going to limit
why would a woman
yourself.
waste her time in fumbling through so many men that we already know are not going to be worthy? If she wants, it depends on the woman now too. Some women, they don't care. Like they don't have any standards. But if a woman wants a man to be with, to settle down with, to make a home with, to have a family with, to be with forever, why would she waste her time with men that she knows are not worthy? If she wants men
that are at the very, very top, the best of the best, like the top 1% of men, she is going to compete for those kind of men. She's got to compete with other women that also want to be with that kind of man for the same reasons.
Well, see, and that's why you don't compete. You got to change your mind to a seek and destroy.
But she ain't going to get chose, Al. A woman that does not make herself known and available to quote-unquote good men will never get found, ever.
Well, I'm just going, that's to each his own. But when you compete and a woman compete, she's doing it with a certain mentality. Her goal is to go get what she wants.
But what if that's the man that she wants, and what if 100 other women also want that same man? If a woman, let's say Giannis was single, right? I think a lot of women would probably like Giannis if he was single. If he was single and had no kids, and a woman wants him, they want to be with him, they want to marry him. You know how many other women want Giannis? So how is she going to go get what she wants? She wants Giannis, but so do they. She's competing with them.
Well, you have to understand, Giannis is not the only man with money who's over 6 feet. And when God created man, he made millions, not just one. That's the first thing you have to establish.
1%, I think, of men are over 6 feet tall, Al. 1%, which meaning 99% are not.
Well, they could be 2 plus 2. I don't care. But I'm just saying, if everybody's going for Giannis, that is not a person I would be going for. She will have to broaden her horizons, and she will have to go for all. You have to think outside.
So you want her to? So you're asking her to settle? Why can't she have a set of standards that she's going to adhere to? That is settling.
Who said settle? And I never said anything settle.
Broadening her horizons means she's got to accept things that she doesn't necessarily want to accept to better her chances. If a woman wants a particular type of man, that's the man that she needs to go after. If there's other women that are vying for that man, she needs to compete against them. Otherwise, she ain't going to get chose. Then she'll be forced to settle.
Well, I think you're kind of missing my point. I'm not telling her settle. I'm telling her when you broaden your horizons, that means you go for all ethnic groups. Because she might find somebody who got way more money as Giannis, and she won't have to have a bunch of babies.
But what if she's a black woman and only wants to be with a black man? She only sees herself with a black man. Are you telling the black woman that she needs to abandon the black man?
I know those are your words, not mine. What I'm saying is that she's going to have to broaden her horizon. Now, if she want a black man, by all means, do you. But be realistic. Because if everybody is going for the same person, you're probably going to get the doo-doo end of the stick. But you have to treat this going for the special person like a business. You got to take out the weak and go after the strong, which means if you want you a black man, you better talk to several of them. From people the same age as Giannis to those that are 90 years old.
Even the ones that have no job, no money, no credit, still live with their baby mama, though.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
But that's what a lot of the men are, though. Y'all make it seem like good men are just lonely and hanging around. Just
no, I'm not saying that.
I'm talking about a woman with very high standards for who she wants to be with. High standard, not low standard women.
Well, I know women with very high standards. And they came up on good men. They got apartment buildings. They got properties. But they did not all go for one particular person. Because if you go for one particular group or one particular person, you cut your options out. Life is about wisdom, growth, experiences. But you cannot get it if you are simple-minded. See, and you have to be uncomfortable.
But Al, what if she has already had that phase where she explored all other ethnicities and she broadened her horizons, and now she has it narrowed down to what she wants because in her youth she dated all that she didn't want. She's arrived at a place where there's a specific prototype of man and she won't settle for anything less. That man exists, but he's also probably wanted by a whole bunch of other women as well. Now what do you tell her? Continue to broaden her horizons?
Well, what I would tell her is her age and her youth is totally different from where she is today. That's what I would tell her.
Right, she's more specific in what she wants.
So prime example, she's going to have to change the game and go back to the lab and create a new formula. Just like I tell people, you want a rich man, but don't get one that's young because they're very stingy. The ones that's over 75 to 90, those are the ones who give more. If you're talking to somebody that's the same color you, like if they're black, they're very stingy. They're not going to give you too much. They give you $500, they're going to act like they gave you $50,000.
So you're encouraging women to get if a woman that wants a man who's financially stable, you're saying go for one that's super old because he'll give more?
Well, I would tell her she's going to have to broaden her horizons. Maybe that would be the best.
All right.
Because if you keep messing with people around your same age and they're not giving you nothing, that's telling you something. If you're trying to gain something like wealth, you don't want to talk to nobody the same age as you, especially if they're the same color as you, because you know how those people act and think. Keep in mind, we know how we think about each other, but it's totally different when you step outside your box and you play uncomfortable to win. Because I can say for myself, I have gained a lot, but I didn't get it by sitting here saying, well, I'm going to have to get it from somebody who's just like me.
Al, your perspective might be a little different. Do you want to get married one day and have children? If you don't have children already, is that a goal for you? Because if it's not, then your perspective is going to be out of the realm of what I'm speaking about.
Well, I would guess I'm going to get married, but I'm going to have children before I'm married. If I do get married, they will be probably over 68 to 90. If I marry somebody right now around my same age, they're probably not going to want to spend a lot of money. They're going to have a lot of limitations, and they're not going to really.
You going wait? So you going to marry between a 68 and 90-year-old?
Of course.
Man or a woman? Or is that none of my business? Can I ask what the gender, your preferred gender would be of a 68 to 90-year-old?
Well, I was gonna marry a woman in her 70s, but she was married, but I told her she would have to divorce her husband.
Oh, Lord, Al. Oh,
my God. Okay.
How old are you? Can we ask how old you are? How old are you, Al?
I'm in my 40s, but everybody I deal with is either 20 years younger or 30 years older. Because you got to have people for the sex part, and then you got to have those if you want to do something nice, you want to go on a nice trip. Maybe you want to sit in the jacuzzi and get your neck licked on while drinking scotch. You got to have certain people for certain situations.
But Al, will you ever be able to be with just one person, or when you get married to your 70-year-old married woman? Are you still going to have other people on the side to fulfill those other needs, or do you think you can get everything from one person?
Well, I probably could get everything from one person, but you should always have somebody on the other side. Why limit yourself?
Al, we got to leave it there.
I'm not going to sell myself short.
Clearly, you ain't. I got to take a break, and I got another call that's holding, but I really appreciate your insights. All right, you too. Well, I turned my mic off by accident. What? I don't understand. Okay, let's take a break, come back. I'm going to talk about African Americans starting their own country or their own colony where there's no white privilege, there's no white supremacy. It's just black people creating our own rules, no dress code, no discriminating against us because of our hair, none of that. Let's start our own country, and there's actually a blueprint that's much closer than you think. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Hardworking family businesses, ambitious entrepreneurs, relationship builders, and job creators. Businesses like yours are the heart of Wisconsin, and the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation lives to help you realize your vision. Join us for Marketplace Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development. It will be held December 6th and 7th at Baird Convention Center in downtown Milwaukee and virtually on December 5th. Presented by WEDC, Marketplace Wisconsin is a chance for minority, women, LGBTQ+, veteran-owned, and small businesses to network, explore government contracting, and grow. Keep our state moving with construction, janitorial services, logistics and transportation, technology, medical services, and more. And Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation wants to help propel your success. So join them for Marketplace Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development, December 6th and 7th. Register for Marketplace Wisconsin today at marketplacewisconsin.com. Let's move forward together.
Looking to buy your first house, expand it to a forever home, or simply want to refinance? At Associated Bank, we've got you. We believe that with the right lending plan and guidance, everyone can achieve their dreams. And Associated Bank is here to get you there. Because believe it or not, your financial goals are within reach. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin plays at an MVP level. They came in ahead of time, make sure they had all of the measurements. When the Pella people left, you had no idea they had been here. You just had the new window.
It's Dr. Ken from 1017 The Truth for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Right now, pay as low as $19 a month per window and $75 per month on patio doors. Visit PellaWI.com today.
$6.99 APR for 120 months. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offers end 9/30/2023.
Truth Nation, are you ready to become the best business leader you know you can be? Forever Media, a Black-owned leading media company, proudly presents Lead the Movement Business Conference. This premier event, hosted on September 29th, 2023 at the iconic Henry Meyer Festival Park, aims to equip attendees with the tools and knowledge to lead effectively, innovate talent acquisition, elevate their brand, and champion diversity and inclusivity. So it's time to level up. To learn more and purchase tickets, visit ltmconference.com.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Truth is home of Marquette University High School football. Tonight at 7 p.m., the Marquette Hilltoppers take on their conference rival, the undefeated Sussex Hamilton Chargers. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. High school sports and the award-winning 1017 The Truth is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. And tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth for another episode of Diversity and Excellence, powered by Erie Insurance and hosted by Dr. Ken Harris and Fred Johnson. Dr. Ken and Fred will discuss the risk of insurance fraud and the steps you can take to protect you and your family from becoming victims of said fraud. So again, don't miss Diversity and Excellence, powered by Erie Insurance, this Saturday at 10 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. And tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth at 11 a.m. for the debut of the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show. I'll be joined by representatives from CLAW to discuss their Lunch and Learn workshops, mental and emotional health, and the importance of having spiritual healing in your life. Again, that is the debut of the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. All right, that's enough of those. Read more later. Let's talk to Andy. It looks like you have a comment about women wearing men's undergarments.
Yes, and I've been listening quite a bit, but I haven't been able to call. I've been under the weather, so to speak, but I mustered the energy to call on this because can I make 3 points, Mr. Hughes?
Sure.
Number one, I applaud Al and their openness to the world. We should all be more flexible in our thinking, which leads me to 2. I hate to say it, Professor Hughes, but you have shown yourself to be, in this respect, in this one regard, inflexible, in fact, maybe a little rigid, almost like a Chinese vampire, in your inability to get over the notion or image of a woman wearing men's underwear. That's no way to live, Professor Hughes.
No, I have this thing called standards. I also would prefer the women I'm involved with to not have beards either. Call me crazy, call me misogynistic. But when you have standards, it better helps you navigate the world because you know what you do want versus what you don't. And here's the thing. Everybody is entitled to their own choices and preferences, right? I'm sure you have your preferences. Lita has her preferences, which are weird. Everybody has their own preferences.
I was going to say number 3 was, I thought you were describing Lita, when you were describing the woman who you cannot consummate given their choice in undergarments. However, I do want to say, given what you've just said, Professor Hughes, you did kind of checkmate me, to use the phrase from our beloved Bob, because you're right. You can do whatever you want. Your preferences are your preferences. I just don't. I favor openness and flexibility regarding what is expected among the genders.
Is it that I'm not allowed to have standards because I'm a man? Because if a woman said to me, hey, I want a man that's 6 feet tall, that makes good money, that has good credit, that owns his own home, I wouldn't hold that against her. Also, if a woman said, I don't want to date, marry, or be involved with a man that wears women's underwear, that's totally acceptable. If a woman said those things, we would agree with her. But if a man says, I don't want to be with a woman that wears men's underwear, then he is being ultra rigid.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I would make the mother love distinction. I would make a distinction between you, who has reach with your microphone, and someone who just has their private preferences. So when you tell all your listeners that you don't prefer women who may exhibit something as superficially masculine as being interested or wanting to wear men's undergarments, it carries more weight, and it casts aspersions on women who embrace some aspect of masculinity, which is essential to be a fully rounded human being.
So wearing men's underwear is a part of embracing masculinity to be more well-rounded. Why am I even talking about this? I don't even like this lady. I don't like her. This is something she overshared, because sometimes, here's something that people do, and you've probably been out of the dating world for your entire life. And so sometimes people know that they have traits and qualities about them that are undesirable. So what they do is they overshare. So they narrow down the field. So they talk about the most undesirable things that they do, their most undesirable traits, and they bring them up early so that anyone who is not interested in their most undesirable parts weed themselves out. Are you familiar with that? Someone who's got really like super bad habits that they know has been the cause for their other relationship issues. Sometimes they bring those up immediately, like on the first date. Like, oh, here, I'm going to let you know this is all the messed up stuff about me. And I hate when people do that, because they're afraid of being abandoned. So what they're doing is they're basically taking the bull by the horns and abandoning themselves by talking about their most undesirable traits before the person even gets to know them. Because some stuff we can accept. After we get to know somebody and we like them, we be like, oh, that's not that bad. But they disclose that stuff sometimes with no context so that they can weed people out. Then those same people will complain that nobody wants them. It's crazy.
Well, there are more than two ways to look at it. One, you could say they're doing you a service by sharing so that you can make an informed decision. As you have done, you do not like to look at a woman's fruit of the looms. Or they could, as you say, be self-sabotaging. Oh, there are plenty of self-sabotaging Q-peeps, no doubt.
Where does you and Wylita meet?
Well, I don't think Wylita would mind my saying she's a very private person.
I'm not asking anything private about her. I'm just asking where you met. It's not private.
Well,
but I'm asking you. I'm not asking her.
Where did you meet her? I'm going, but you can see where I'm going, wading into the waters of privacy, because we met under conditions that would be considered private. But I would consider sharing a hint. It involved costumes, Professor Hughes.
Leave it at that. Yeah, let's leave it there. We're gonna leave. I gotta go now.
I appreciate your program so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, I don't even know what's happening. Rhea, I think somebody left some food here for us. Like there's, because it's been sitting there right here on this table for a while. I know that LT, when he brings stuff, that's where he leaves, but he didn't text or anything. But I don't want that to be somebody. It's been there for like 30 minutes, and it's just somebody walked away from it. And there's nobody else over in this part of the little food court area. You don't want to go out there? Let me see if somebody texted us.
So you're going to grab
LT did
random
text.
food and eat it?
That's not random. It's sealed up. Let's see who this black lady is. She walking toward the food. What's she finna do? She walking right past it. She didn't even look at it. LT, did you leave some food here? LT did text us, and he said cinnamon/pumpkin outside. Oh, he did leave it. Yo, that was at 9:47. LT, I need to know before I send Rhea out there, because, you know, they shoot people nowadays if you steal food. I've been looking at this bag since before 10 o'clock. That's for us. And it's a lot of stuff in there. It's a big bag. He said, don't let anybody steal those cookies. Oh, there's cookies. Those are for us. All right, so I'm going to take a break. I'll come back. Rhea's going to have a bunch of cookies. I guess I'm going to have some too. And trying to talk about black people starting their own country, but y'all won't let me. Y'all are just trying to stop me from being great. That's all y'all trying to do. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, I'm attorney David Gruber. After an accident, you need a trusted winning team on your side. For more than 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped Wisconsin families get the results they deserve. If you've been injured, call our firm today for a free consultation. We're available 24/7. Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Sharpen your investment and retirement strategy at the Annex Wealth Management Navigating the Markets presentation. What are the headwinds for portfolios in excess of $1 million? Will the long-awaited recession actually happen? And what can you do to calibrate your portfolio? Navigating the Markets takes place in Mequon September 26th and Brookfield October 5th. These premier events are open to everyone. Complete details and sign up at annexwealth.com/events. The American economy is at a critical juncture. What's next? Join us for Navigating the Markets from Annex Wealth Management.
Dear hero, whoever you are, you save lives. I live with sickle cell and the pain and the issues that come along with sickle cell every day. I've had lots and lots of blood transfusions over my lifetime, probably in the hundreds. Blood helps me to be able to live.
My final tour was in Afghanistan in 2008. I was hit June 3rd. The next thing I remember, I woke up in Germany. The doctor came in and said, we're going to amputate your leg. I had to get a lot of blood transfusion to stay alive.
Because of you, I'm allowed to see my son grow up.
Because of you, I got a second chance at life.
Giving equals living. Give blood. Replenish the supply. Make an appointment to give today by visiting hhs.gov/giveblood. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Williams, and I want to share with you the role that diabetes has had in my family. I lost my grandmother at the early age of 64 due to complications with diabetes. She was warm, generous, and a constant encouragement for me to follow my heart. Did you know that African Americans experience chronic kidney disease at a rate that's 25% higher than white Americans? And we're almost 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure. Diabetes and high blood pressure are leading causes of kidney disease, which can result in kidney failure, needing dialysis, or a kidney transplant. The good news is that you have the power to check out how well your kidneys are doing and learn ways to prevent them from failing. So go to your doctor and get yourself checked out. Visit linkmylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Call Al Cole at XL Property and Contracting, a local business located on 57th and North Avenue. Contact them for free estimates on remodeling, property management, and cleaning services. Al's number is 877-277-6817, or visit him at xlprop.com. The Black-owned business Give Back is back. We've teamed up with Associated Bank to help local black businesses grow and succeed. We're giving away $6,000 worth of free advertising for 3 months to 5 black businesses each quarter this year. To sign up for this incredible opportunity, go to blackbusinessgiveback.com. For official contest rules, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank is a member of the FDIC. And Truth Nation, it's time to elevate and level up your business skills at Forever Media's Lead the Movement Conference. This conference will teach you how to lead effectively, innovate talent acquisition, elevate your brand, and champion diversity and inclusivity. I'm not supposed to read that. Well, I have it in my hand. So I can't read it today. Can I finish reading it? Oh, we're giving something away, but not today. Y'all forget I just said that. I'll do it on... Never mind. I mean, don't never mind the event. Go to the event, but I can't give away tickets yet. All right. Thanks for the cookies, LT. When I'm in the studio, I'm real distracted by stuff in front of me and the text messages and my stories, and distracted by my own thoughts. And I didn't notice that LT had left the cookies. But I saw it was a bag. Usually you shouldn't do that because that's how terrorists plant bombs. I mean, you want to blow my ass up, just have it disguised in a food bag. Ooh, what's this? Boom! Oh, fat ass. We got him. We blew him up. We disguised it as a food bag. Yep, and my face be all black because like the cartoons. Womp, 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 womp. All right. I didn't know about this until yesterday. Oyatunji African Village, South Carolina's authentic African semi-sovereign town. You're not going to believe this. So you know how we always talk about, oh, we should start our own country, start our own city, start our own state, run by African Americans, and we'll control everything. It'll be like our own Greenwood in Tulsa. It'll be our own financial district, our own banks, our own houses, our own infrastructure. Well, that actually exists in this country. The South Carolinian locality of Sheldon, off of Interstate 95, is remote, sparsely populated, purely rural, and yet in this picturesque landscape lies one of the state's most unusual places, a semi-sovereign African enclave. Modeled after a typical Yoruba hamlet in West Africa, the Oyatunji African Village was established by a group of African Americans who wanted to reconnect with their ancestral homeland, reviving their traditions and customs in a speck of land in the middle of the New World. Similar to almost any other racial or ethnic group in the United States, African Americans can trace their origins to a faraway ancestral homeland, which the vast majority of cases is in West Africa. Born and raised in Detroit, Walter Eugene King was intrigued by his forgotten cultural legacy since childhood, immersing himself for decades in African studies. Following a trip to Cuba, where King was initiated as a Yoruba priest and officially became Efuntuola. Oh, I can't even pronounce them African names. He changed his name. He established a temple in Harlem, New York City, dedicated to his African religion. So they actually have a town. And it's semi-sovereign. Their own rules, their own laws, free from most interference from the United States. We could totally do that. If we're that concerned, we can start our own country. Founded in 1970, Oyatunji Yoruba African Kingdom, or OYAK, is the first international community in North America based on the culture of the Yoruba and Republic of Benin tribes of West Africa. Now, over 53 years of sustaining the only kingdom based on traditional Yoruba sociology and values, OYAK brings to South Carolina's Low Country and a greater global community and the depth of culture, beautiful art, grandeur, and customs, and resilient history of the Yoruba New World. OYAK's core mission is spreading Yoruba culture, feeding the community, and celebrating Yoruba tradition. The kingdom founder, Oba Adefunumi, grandson of a transatlantic slave, occurred in the 18th century and traced its roots to the Oyo Kingdom and recognized that this kingdom in particular, is the cradle of the Yoruba, as well as the fact that it envisioned to assimilate the Yoruba heritage, culture, and tradition into American communities. He found out that the Yoruba in America has no community like other immigrant communities such as Jews, Italians, Caribbeans, Greek, Spanish, and other inhabitants. For this reason, he envisioned a kingdom to be the homestead of our black brothers and sisters with a view to promote and spread Yoruba culture, tradition, and ways of life in North America. Since their inception, they consistently uphold Yoruba tradition to revitalize families, communities, oceans, rivers, lakes, animals, and even the soil. Simply put, the Oyatunji Yoruba African Kingdom in South Carolina is the custodian of Yoruba heritage, culture, and tradition in North America. Since 1970, Oyatunji Kingdom engages in tourism to bring blacks, African Americans, families, students, educators, organizations to the kingdom for enlightenment and more. They partner with various entities to achieve this mission. In 1973, Yoruba Royal Academy Private School was established to cater to the educational needs of the black children on the colony, as well as outsiders near and far. In the colony of Oyatunji, they organize festivals 11 months out of the year to appease the Yoruba ancient sacred deities, and they name the deities with a bunch of African names, as well as practice ancestors' traditional style of worship. They form this community, this Pan-African grassroots assembly network that meets once a year, and this assembly network is subdivided into young and old members to facilitate ideas and development, sharing among African descendants, and to engineer black progress, to recognize black courage, as well as to promote black solidarity across the globe through their many programs. So it's literally its own community that adheres to these West African traditions. And to the best of my knowledge, they are not messed with nor interfered with by the state government nor the federal government. So I said all that to say this. Let's just start our own country. What will we call it? I got a couple of names, most of which are probably not suitable, but all right. Sir Chauncey says, oh, all right. So I got to give y'all some information here. Somebody sent me a picture, and it's from The Man Show, which airs on WNOV on Fridays. For those of you that are familiar with Black Talk Radio, Eric Vaughn started The Man Show. It was an open forum for African American men specifically to come to, at the time, WMCS and just talk about their experiences, the work they do in Milwaukee, and their participation in community. Well, Eric Vaughn passed in September of 2016, and then Keon Jackson Malone, who was my longtime producer at WNOV, kept the tradition of the Man Show on the air. So they had a Man Show episode today, and they broadcasted live on Facebook. And so apparently Meech, who is on a long suspension from my show, and Al, who just called a little while ago, you know, that Al that was almost booted off my airwaves because of obscenity, apparently they had a debate this morning live on the air on WNOV. And somebody sent me a screenshot of their Facebook broadcast, and I see Al. That's Al right there wearing a yellow T-shirt. Al, how come you didn't tell us you was on WNOV this morning? You should have told us that now. But Meech is there too. And Meech is wearing a top hat. He's dressed like, he looks like a black magician. I can't even describe. He's wearing these sunglasses. He's wearing a big old top hat. Rhea, did you see this picture? It was sent by Sir Chauncey. And it's a whole bunch of guys in the studio. I see Ray Mendoza. Next to Ray Mendoza that's Al. I don't know who this brother is. Then there's Meech looking like T-Pain. And there's two other brothers that are in the studio, and I can't see their faces because their backs are facing the camera. Had I known that Meech and Al were going to be debating this morning, I would have listened to that show. But I got sent a screenshot. So you see the guy wearing the glasses and the yellow T-shirt? So at the very, very top of the picture, you got a Latino guy with a white beard. Al is right next to him. Al don't look nothing like he sounds, do he? Nothing like he sounds. Al is just a normal, regular-looking dude. But you wouldn't know by what he says on the radio. You wouldn't know that he wants to be with a 78, 92-year-old man or woman and use them for the money, but also have another person that licks on his neck while he drinks scotch on a cruise ship. He don't even look like that kind of person. Okay, I'm going to take a break. And oh, look who's on hold. We're going to talk to Derek when we come back. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show. I will be joined by representatives from CLAW to discuss their Lunch and Learn workshops, mental and emotional healing, and the importance of having spiritual healing in your life. Again, that is the Center for Leadership of African Women's Wellness Show this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. For more information, visit clawclaww.org.
Looking to buy your first house, expand it to a forever home, or simply want to refinance? At Associated Bank, we've got you. We believe that with the right lending plan and guidance, everyone can achieve their dreams. And Associated Bank is here to get you there. Because believe it or not, your financial goals are within reach. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Denise Thomas with her truth.
Over the past 2 years, I've been very intentional about self-care, including clinical therapy. And one of the many lessons that I've learned includes the biggest one that I've applied, and that is letting go. Oftentimes, we feel as though that we have to hold on to certain relationships, whether it's professional or personal, because we feel a sense of obligation. However, within that relationship, you're always feeling as though it's difficult to love you. You're a bad person. You're not good. Combined with what we're hearing and reading on social media and other news platforms. I want to remind you, as I've learned and gained through therapy, that in any relationship that you're in, it should be elevating your happiness. It should be elevating your joy. It should be providing you prosperity and peace. Don't get me wrong. In any relationship, there's misunderstandings, there's miscommunications, and that's where, as human beings, we allow the relationship to be bigger than that particular incident and say, you know what, when you said this or when you did this, it made me feel this. I may be totally misinterpreting it, but I just wanted you to understand how it made me feel. And in those situations where the continuous behavior makes you feel as though, again, that you're bad or that you're not good, or it's just always exhausting to be in that relationship, let it go. And you can release with love. You can let that person know we're no longer compatible. This does not feel good. I release you, and I release you with love. Let everything that is not bringing you value go so you can be around people, places, and things that bring out the best in you. You deserve it.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
1017 The Truth, Sherwin Hughes for Axe Housing. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. In fact, if you work with an Axe Housing coach, the average about $800 a month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, including low credit, they have given mortgages to people with their at-home brokerage with credit scores that are essentially zero and as low as 438. Their coach will put you on a plan and a budget, get you well on your way to becoming a homeowner. You can get started on a virtual home buying orientation. They'll tell you about all the steps you need to take. All you got to do is go to axhousing.org. That's ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially today get in the way of your bright future becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help. That's axhousing.org. All right, let's talk to Derek. You're on the new 1017 The Truth. How are you?
Yeah, I'll be okay. I just got one comment and maybe two questions. The first comment would be about the Elijah McClain. I think they're going to be starting his jury, not his, but some of the people who caused his death, their jury trial. I think the AG of Colorado is going to be working that case, and also, which is a good thing. And also, two things. I want to ask you, you always talk about how much you love Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that's where you were raised, and you're concerned. Would you ever be one of these people that would move down south, pack it up, and move down south in any of those states? Even further, would you ever be one of these black people that moves to, let's say, Ghana or Nigeria or Namibia, any African country? And would you go there?
No.
Just asking. I was just curious.
No.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't move to any place down south?
No.
Okay. I was just curious. You were talking about that village in, I guess that place in South Carolina.
I was giving that as an example of all the black people that think that we couldn't start our own colony or our own sovereign geographic recognized location. There's one that actually exists. I ain't going there. No, I got a mortgage.
You are not going to go?
No, I ain't. What I'm going there for, man? Is you going?
Well, I thought about it one time.
No, you didn't. You didn't even know it existed.
No, I'm not there, but I'm talking about, I thought about Africa. Somebody invited me. They said, you need to go to Africa, be with your ancestors. I said, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Because it is, I mean, you are leaving a different culture and going to another culture.
That's correct.
And you are, all these people who say they don't feel Americans, but all my experience has been when I've gone to Canada, I was dealt like the American. And they will know that you're an American just by basic behavior if you went to Ghana or Nigeria, or just our basic behavior.
Yeah, we're not fooling an African. If you're black in this country and you've lived in this country your whole life and you go over to Africa, they'll know right away.
Right. We have a lot of our customs, and we don't even realize it, that how American we are.
No, I totally realize it. First of all, I speak English. That's a big dead giveaway. So that is a clue that I'm American. But I'm not going to Africa. And I'm certainly not going anywhere in the American South. If I leave Milwaukee, I'm going to go live in Vegas. But it's getting hot. It's too hot in Vegas. But that's where I'd move to.
Okay, I was just curious. And I really enjoy your views and everything. You're a very sharp person, very smart.
Thanks, Derek.
You could even this throws out to you. I think you'd even do something like a national thing. Too bad you can do more like a national broadcast.
And too much pressure. I mean, this program can be heard all over the world with the internet, so that's national enough for me.
Yeah, but you're very good, and but I appreciate your comments on that African thing.
All right,
and I'll let you go. Okay.
All right, thank you, Derek. Bye, Derek. Bye. Derek probably expected me to expand on my answers. Sherwin, you want to move to Africa, huh? No. What am I going to go over there for? So the Africans can, we heard what you were saying about us on your radio show. We heard everything that you were saying. You are not welcome here. You are looking for Wakanda. Wakanda is not here. Wakanda is in the movie theater. Let's talk to Adam. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm the old guy.
Oh, hello. Adam.
I'm great. I just ask you a question, but in this, would the islands be in this northern hemisphere?
Depends on what islands.
I'm talking about Haiti.
Yeah, that's the northern hemisphere.
That's all black. I'll be watching that stuff on YouTube. That's the worst country in the world. That country is horrible. They're killing each other. It's a different gang in each block. You gotta pay like a toll road to go from block to block, and that is all black people. That really hurts to watch something like that.
Yeah, but Haiti is also very, very poor, like less than $1 a day poor. And they're still victims of colonialism. So wherever you had European colonial rule, there's going to be a lot of poverty.
Well, they've been away from Western civilization because they're the one that got the French out of their place. They were doing good. And now this last president they had, they couldn't stand him, and they assassinated him. The man was trying to get the island together. I would never want to live in one of them places. It's horrible.
Well, there's better places than Haiti.
I was just saying that as an example. You're talking about giving a place where you like to live at. That's the first thing that came to my mind because I saw all of this, what they're doing.
The colony that black folks created in 1970 in South Carolina is a lot different than the island of Haiti. This would be something that black people here in this country would build like now, with our sensibilities and our culture and our history to be free from white oppression. This is not just going somewhere else where other black people are. This is us deciding that we want our own community, our own colony. But Adam, I got like a minute left on my show, and I got another phone call that I got to take.
Okay, say bye.
All right, bye-bye, Adam. All right, then. Miss C, you're going to have the last word.
Hey, Sherwin, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I just love your show.
Thank you.
But this morning on WNOV, Mitch looked just like Willy Wonka on the chocolate factory with that hat on. He shouldn't have never did that. But anyway, Al, your caller that calls in all the time,
yes.
I believe Al has just came out the closet. And for him to always talk about the Lord and churches and things like that, he know what it means. He know what it is about what God said about homosexuality. So I believe that's why he is so against Christianity, just being a Christian or just knowing God and Lord and all of that stuff, Jesus. So he needs to stop that. He needs to repent and get on his knees and ask God to forgive him.
Do not ask Al to get on his knees.
That's right. Well, you know what I mean about getting on it. You know what I mean, Sharon. Said, I want to meet you so bad. Me and Miss Sandra, we going to have a time with you.
Whoa, wait a minute now. Hold on. Slow your roll. Woo, I got to go.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Miss C, I got to go.
I'll talk to you next week.
All right, then.
Next week.
All right, then. Miss C said they're going to have a time with me. Zach, I might need you to DJ or referee that time that they're going to have with me. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that think that Derek is white, a lot of you do. He's not. He's actually black. Have a great weekend, everybody. Melanie Ricks is up next.
Tune in to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth this Saturday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance, hosted by me, Dr. Ken Harris, and Fred Johnson, the Vice President and Wisconsin State Manager for Erie Insurance. Fred and I will discuss the risk of insurance fraud, the steps you need to take to protect you and your family, all from becoming victims of it. So again, don't miss Diversity and Excellence powered by Erie Insurance this Saturday, 10 a.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
Know yourself. Yeah, he says know thyself. But yeah, tomato. It's giving potato.
Yeah.
But I like that you said that.
Or Nelly Furtado.
Did you say Nelly Furtado? All right, I'm going to move past that.
Tomato.
Potato. Nelly Furtado.
Yeah, my life.
Okay, I did kind of like that. I'm done.
Go ahead, Mel.
I know, Ben,
My
stop.
bad.
It's okay.
Listen to Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks, weekdays from noon to 1 on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
It's a big deal because your finances are a really big deal. Town Bank would like to announce our newest and greatest 11-month CD rate with a whopping 5.35% APY. Act now and you can lock in 5.35%. Just go to townbank.us/locknewrates and start earning more. Annual percentage yield accurate as of May 31st, 2023 and assumes funds remain on deposit until maturity. Minimum daily balance of 1 cent required to obtain APY. $1,000 minimum to open. New money only. Offer may change at any time and without notice. Member FDIC.
When severe weather hits and the power goes out, do you have a plan? For reliable power and peace of mind, Propane can do that.